Welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. This is episode 16, and I am your host. Oh my gosh, I'm not even gonna restart that. What did I say? I am your host. What did I say? I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm not gonna
you're
restart it. I'm not
coast.
restart. I am your host with an H, Supreme King, and I am joined with my co-host, not co-host or co-whatever.
It's the coast. It's your guy Omazis.
Yes. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Staying hydrated. Know how important that is. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I gotta stay hydrated as well. I have to apologize to the whatever fan bases out there, because I know I pick up a giant liter of frozen water all the time throughout this, because I do stay hydrated as well. But I'm very mindful about background sounds, despite me being able to handle like every background sound. There's always a creak or a speck or a something that I can't just control. But I can control the water intake, and I usually still just drink the water anyway, and I don't put it on mute. But that's okay. It don't take that long. I'm sorry. What I mean is this thing right here. I don't even know if y'all can hear it, but that I have a big thing of water. Stay hydrated.
I
Yes.
just took, I just drank some water. I ain't hear nothing. It's all good. Stay
Yeah, it's
hydrated.
all good. The one thing I don't like though, you know how like some people like they'll have their microphones a little too close or something, and then they're just like smacking or like clearing their throat or something. That's the part that I don't like. Don't be smacking, clearing your throat. I will probably never eat directly on a podcast. That's
Yeah.
that I'll give y'all that. I won't do it. I'll always eat before it.
There was a time where I muted myself and took a few bites because I was hungry. In the
Yeah,
middle of a
see, he's
muted.
slacking. I'm not slacking. He's slacking. See, I went to Chipotle about an hour and a half before we recorded and grabbed, one of their bowls, the chicken bowl with I got chicken and steak. I put them both in there, and then I had
Yeah.
that and had the tortilla on the side, and I ate half of it as a bowl, ate half of it as a burrito, and I did get some chips too. I had the whole thing, and so I
Yeah.
was well prepared, even though I should have made my own. That's another story.
I was not. I don't be prepared. So it just be staring at me. And I'm gonna have this after. And then, I just take a few nibbles. Like it happens. I don't know what to tell you.
So
I
everybody
ain't
hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. This is the Rocket Launcher Podcast, episode 16. We're going to talk about GTA starting off. We're also going to talk about this Xbox handheld system. There's some Steam Deck news I'm going to talk about. There's some Nintendo news that's funny I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk about Street Fighter, Tekken, and a little bit of Splinter Cell and Rainbow Six. And then we're going to bash you, CM Punk, at the end. Other than that, yes, we're going to get started. There's one thing I want to address. I will apologize officially to whoever is new to my channel right now. Yes, I have not uploaded anything this week. And I've tried to be a little bit more consistent than that. I had a lot going on. I do have videos that were already recorded. So yes, I'm bad. I could have uploaded some stuff if I edited. Um, some of y'all don't know. I actually started like writing scripts. Y'all don't know that. I wrote scripts for videos and finished scripts for videos and didn't upload or edit or record those either. I was very busy this week. However, I do plan to increase the quality of this platform period, which includes like not necessarily streaming, but a little bit of some let's play stuff. But most stuff are gonna be pre-recorded right now because I'm trying to control what happens in the backgrounds and stuff. So, but more will be coming this upcoming week. I was supposed to clip something from last show that I didn't clip. I'm going to actually talk about more of this show at the end as well, which is actually more about the Kirby game Forbidden. Actually, I could just say it right now because it was only small. I do still recommend that you buy the game. I actually got access to the game for free because of my free game pass. I'm not going to mention how I have a free game pass. Go to episode 12. And then it's like, no, I can mention it. I have rented it from a library and I enjoyed it, but my enjoyment was going to be cut short for something that had to do with real life that I'm going to explain to my co-host after the fact. But I was like, you know what, man? Even though I rolled credits, I want this game, and I want to continue to play the Dark Souls elements at the end of it. So I went and bought it. I bought it. I actually got it off of Walmart for $48 plus tax and then free shipping. So check that out on Walmart. I'll give you another freebie right now, or not freebie, but I ordered what was that game called? I don't even know the name now. It's fun. What is it called? Straw Dogs? Not what is it called? I'm about to look it up. I have it on my phone. I ordered another game.
Okay.
Watch Dogs Legion. That's what I think it's called. Yeah.
If you would have described it, that could have helped.
Yeah. So that was a game that didn't really do so well, but I can tell you, if you can find it, it was $8.99 brand new on Walmart.com and free shipping. So I spent $9 and some change on it, and so that's supposed to come in the mail any day now. So it's Watch Dogs Legion. I got that one on Xbox. I believe it's multiplayer. You can get it everywhere. So that's the physical version. I think the game was trying to be a newer, high-tech version of probably GTA, which leads into the first topic, and then it kind of just failed to be that, I guess, and people didn't care. It launched when the new gen systems launched, but it didn't really go nowhere, right? And so that was the end of it as quickly as it began. The most that I remember that stood out was that it did still have up-to-date graphics, and then it supports ray tracing, and also within the game you were able to hack other cars and stuff, nearby things nearby you and stuff, and you could make them move or whatever. And so that was a thing that I guess, sets it apart. But GTA Online just, it was too strong of a beast. No one seemed to care about Watch Dogs, and that was the end of it. So I got it for $8.99. Maybe you can find it for $8.99. I did see on Amazon also it was like $12 or $13.99 there, depending on the system. So this thing is mad cheap. So for the price of like fast food, you can get another game and at least try it out if you like it. I don't know about how much it costs digitally, like on the actual storefront, like PlayStation. But
probably price.
I'm almost certain that it's cheaper physically though. So if you haven't played it, that's the cheapest game you can get right now that I just got. Other than that, like I said, I apologize for not uploading, but one of the latest videos I did upload was a joke on it was like a short to GTA, which got me a nice amount of views, and you would think I would be a good YouTuber and actually like capitalize on that, but like nope, no I didn't. I actually let the channel like dry out for a week. But I'm gonna be coming back stronger. But thank you for the views to whoever watched that and subscribed. There were people who subscribed. Thank you for the views. I think it was like 2,000 something, 2,400 views. So thank you for that. That was actually my highest viewed piece of content on the channel. So that happened, and so the context behind it was GTA 6 leaking, period. And I don't think we had time to, well, that episode came out, episode 15 came out like that same day that I did that. And I put out the short right before I put out the episode. The episode always goes out at 10:30 a.m. on Sundays, Eastern Standard Time. And I made the short at like 7 something in the morning and put it out like somewhere in that time right before 8 a.m. because the GTA news was hot. It was just
Yeah.
hot. It was white hot. And I was
Yep.
up. So I was like, you know what? I normally do not post anything at the same time as the podcast, but I was like, I'm going to post it anyway. I'll post it right before it. And so I'll get away with it. I'll just do it.
All
And
right.
by the time the actual podcast came out, it had popped like 1,500 views in the beginning. I was like, whoa! Like it was like released like an hour and a half before the show, and then it just popped those views. So I was like, all right, for a tiny channel, this is good. This is good.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I saw a lot of the footage. I don't know how much of the footage you saw, but it was just like a lot of stuff that was just leaked. It was still pre-alpha footage, and it's not too much that was revealed here. It was everything that we had already known. Like it was going to be in Vice City. We like kind of already knew that. There was going to be a female protagonist. We already knew that. She was supposed to be Latina, and then there was going to be a Bonnie and Clyde element, like a couple kind of thing. And so that was all the kind of stuff that we were seeing. One thing that I did notice was the actual cop car still looked very similar to the GTA 5 car, which
Okay.
initially made me think that it was a mod because I have watched so many GTA mods over the years, and almost everybody who has like a super PC, they always run a benchmark with GTA content, and it's always
Oh,
like the 3090 or whatever, and they'll like put everything at max settings, and then they'll go get GTA and then show off all the sports cars and stuff. And
right.
so this by default in its alpha footage looked very similar to that. But what made you see that it was not like the GTA 5 mini mods was that the map was different. And so like that was the only thing. I was like, I've never seen anybody try to mod the map. You never usually mod the map. You always mod the assets within the map.
Right.
So that's what I knew. I was like, okay, this is what it was. And so technically some of the voice acting, the dialogue was kind of leaked and stuff. It was still very much the same as what we've been used to with GTA 4, 5 and San Andreas and stuff. But
Right.
everything else was a little bit more high res. However, the final textures were not really there. Um, but I don't know. To me, it wasn't that big of a deal. What was the biggest deal is that it was leaked. Period. Other than that, you was just gonna see GTA footage. You've been seeing GTA footage this whole time, right? It's just like people, because it would have been no different than like GTA Online, where you got your created character and you just wreaking havoc all over the place, right? But instead, this is
Uh,
like the official character. At least the girl that they put in the game, she looked like a regular chick. Thank God, at least for me. I always go too far into that, but at least she looked like a regular chick. And I don't think anybody paid attention to the dude either, but I guess he that would be her boyfriend, and I think he's Latino. I don't know, or I think he was Latino too. I think they're both Latin, and so
that's my people. Uh, so
yeah.
I did not see any of the leaks.
Oh, you didn't?
Because I feel like if I'm gonna play the game, I'm just gonna play it. Like I don't need to know what's and it's pre-alpha, and like a lot of stuff changes by the time it goes from pre-alpha to like final build. So I want
Yeah.
to be like, oh, this looks cool. Can't wait to do this part, and then it's no longer there. Uh,
I saw
so I didn't.
enough of the leaks. I didn't see everything. I was just kind of like, I don't really feel like I need to go all over Twitter or something and seek out every video because apparently it was up to 90 videos that was leaked.
Yes, yeah, I didn't need all of that. But what it did tell me was
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't believe they were actually working on it. I'm gonna be honest. Like I felt like online was too much money that they're like, yeah, we're working on GTA 6, and then like not actually doing anything, right? Like they're still writing some ideas down and like things like that. Like, I didn't think they were like legit, really dedicated to like working on this thing yet. So with the leaks happening, it's like, oh, they are actually doing stuff. Okay, just kind of let me know it was coming out.
Yeah, like I think I
But
knew they were working on it only because there were some people that were in the industry in the general that I know that
Oh,
like know people, I guess, from in Rockstar, and so they were able to confirm at the very least that it was being worked on. And this was actually confirmed by someone up to 2 years ago. You just would have had to watch this person's channel, and
okay.
they just casually said it. It never made news, and I didn't feel the need to like think that the person was lying. It's like, why would they
Right.
lie about it? It was just like whatever. And I thought it was being worked on. I just thought that they were just taking their time with it. I was like, Rockstar doesn't have anything to prove, and
Oh
they're
yeah.
on their own time, and everybody else who imitates their formula has been failing lately. So at the start of the next generation, Watch Dogs failed. We just got done with Saints Row, who failed. I don't know who else is trying to do it. If you wanted to count Cyberpunk, because people were trying to say Cyberpunk 2077 was going for the throne as well. They extra failed, right?
Yep.
So it's not like they were going to have too much competition. It's just everybody's going to be waiting for them. So I say, hey, take as much time as you want. GTA, I mean, it's not like we didn't have Red Dead Redemption 2 in the meantime. I know that's not really the same, but everybody
Yeah.
else is going with third person open world games now. All you
Yeah.
got to do is shoot a gun and be able to get in the car, and then boom, you are the closest to being GTA,
Yep.
that you can be. And the industry is always trying to come out with that type of formula now, and it's like RPG elements and everything. But
Yeah.
the
Oh.
biggest part about it, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick. I didn't look into this, so don't take my word 100% because I still need to look into it. But
Mm-hmm.
I heard part of the leaks showed that there were plans of doing a remaster of Red Dead One that just never actually happened. Uh, and then because you mentioned Red Dead, and then two,
Mm-hmm.
uh, a bunch of people have now jumped back into Cyberpunk because of the anime. So they released that DLC for it,
Yeah.
and it sounds like it's booming in like people. And then three, because you did mention it, so I did look it up.
Okay.
The Ultimate Edition for Watch Dogs Legion digital right now is $30, as opposed 75% off from 120 to $30.
Okay.
The standard edition is still 60. The gold edition is still 100, and the deluxe edition is 17 bucks. So it's still cheaper to get it by disc.
Well, okay. My question, because I didn't really look at the deluxe edition that much. It's like, is there a lot of DLC that's like not clothes and music? Like,
Well, let's
is there
see.
any?
Edition comes with the Legion, the game season pass, the complete edition part of it, four unique heroes, an extra mission, a car skin, and something called the Ultimate Pack. Where the deluxe edition includes additional digital content, a London Dissident Pack, Link's Operative, and 1 week VIP status.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I can say it does have co-op in it, but it doesn't have like full co-op campaign. It's just some online story missions if you wanted to do it, but it's not full.
yeah,
Like, so I was like, yeah, if that's the case, then I'll just play it on my own and get it on Xbox, because I didn't see the point of it wasn't going to be full co-op. So that was the biggest thing that I was looking up. But
makes sense. It's
yeah,
yeah. But back to GTA.
hey, you can't beat $8.99 though. That's cheap. That's Black Friday prices. I normally do these big scoops on Black Friday, but all throughout the year, if anybody's like pushing like McDonald's prices or something like, and I'm interested, if you're like $10 or less, I'm gonna scoop you if I'm interested. So
Makes sense.
yeah, but if we go back to GTA, so we did get some news on the hacker. It's always funny because this was something that reminded me of like the PS3, but it was a kid, a 17-year-old from the UK, and the FBI is investigating this. And so
Yep.
it's as serious as it gets,
Well, it's
because
company and he hacked into their secret files, I think the bigger the company, the higher the chain goes in the uh, police. So I think Rockstar is a big enough company that yeah, it would be an FBI investigation.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't think the kid realized what he was really doing, and in his mind, you don't have to go through 1,000 years of schooling and everything. He just figured it out and did it, And it
Yeah.
reminded me of like the PS3 generation because when the PS3 got hacked, I believe the kid was 19, if I remember
Uh-huh.
correctly. Like the dude was 19. I keep saying kid, like that exposes how old I am in a way. But he was 19 at the time. And that was a big deal for me back then because that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me because I was really, really casual and like my foot was out the door compared to the PS2. And
Okay.
when it got to the point where it's like, if I can't trust my, credit card or something being on file, I was like, I don't know if I want to play. So I still had the system forever, but I was just like not buying nothing and not playing on it. And then
Yeah.
you fast forward to now, it's not the same thing, and I don't think people are gonna treat it the same way. But GTA being hacked is still a big deal, and it's a kid, it's another kid. I don't know who hacked. Remember, somebody hacked Cyberpunk, and they had like a ransom note and all this stuff. But
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think that was a kid though. I think that was an actual hacker, like a full
Yeah.
grown person. But yeah, 17-year-old, and he's being investigated. You got any other details on this?
I just know that they never confirmed that it was for GTA. They were just like, he's being suspected for hacking, and everyone's like, oh, for GTA, and they're just like, we didn't say that, and like, we're not saying no, and they're just like, but we didn't say that. Like that's where they're at right now. Uh,
I wish I had the
but
details on the guy from the PS3 era, but I do know like you could still face some serious jail time for this, and it's possible
yeah,
that his
well, you're
life
hacking.
could be over. You know?
Matter of fact, I found out. I think this is actually like a true thing that like certain people, if they like hack like the government,
Yeah,
occasionally either they get like life like locked away forever, or
yeah,
if they're off, the government will hire them uh on some like we need a new hacker and you're good enough so you could like work for us forever or go to jail. Uh but when you're like doing company stuff and you're like stealing stuff from like a company,
yeah,
uh like it's the same thing for like where you go if somebody like I don't know, took your or if somebody broke your I don't know coffee maker, right? Out of like
yeah,
being mad at you, so they broke your coffee maker. That's something that you could take them to like small claims court and like buy me a new coffee maker. However, if they break your PlayStation because it costs more than $500, that's a legit like court case where they can take some jail time for it because $500 is like the now it's a real expense.
Can you say it's 550 now that they didn't raise the price, even though you ain't spend that? I don't know.
Well,
We'll
now
see.
you can say five more, but that's the thing. So if you're hacking into this stuff, you can like pretty much price this information, right? And like there's a
Yeah,
lot of money that he's just like breaking into. That's a big time like stuff. So this
it,
offense, like I said, of like hacking this versus like stealing mom and pop shops like muffin recipe like in
yeah.
their computer and you get in
Here,
trouble versus hacking a big company. It's like, nah, you go face some serious trouble. Like this kid could be over, and it's sad that everything would be over
yeah.
this
That's
of
the
not think
thing too. It ain't like he hacked Bunny Raiders. You hacked the game. Like the
right.
game. Like this is the
So
top. This is one of the top ones. The most anticipated ones. Period.
yep,
So yeah. Well,
messed up,
it
done messed up.
is what it is. I only other thing I want to say is just that I'm glad it wasn't a leak of the plot. You know, Last of Us 2, like the plot was leaked and that really changed the directory of that whole like thing. Like they're kind of recovering from it. Like releasing Last of Us Part 1 is like them making up for it in a way, you know, cuz they kind of needed to recover cuz that game took a huge hit because of the leaks. And it's like you leaked gameplay in a way, but it's like who hasn't seen the ins and outs of like GTA gameplay, you know? So it wasn't the story where before it was the story and then did nobody like the story. And so GTA also always has a new set of characters like each game with maybe some people being in more than one game, but it's like background characters that's
Oh,
like not as important, you know, where
yeah,
here the people you play with is different where Last of Us 2 when we found out we play as someone you don't want to play as that killed somebody that you liked, it was a whole thing, you know. And I don't see GTA doing something like making you kill somebody from a previous GTA game at the very
right.
beginning and then you play as that person. So they weren't going to do nothing like that. But I'm glad they didn't leak the story, the 17-year-old hacker. But at the very least, we know it's being worked on, and who's not going to get it day one? I mean, that's going to be the biggest game. I remember when the other one was just like sold out, like physically. I remember that one, and it had drew lines. It was like one of the last games to draw lines in person like that, outside of like some of the Pokemon games. So yeah, I'm still hyped for it. I'm still gonna get it. Um, Other than that, anything else you want to say about GTA?
No, I'm just hyped for the next one. Let's see. Hopefully, they don't just realize it's a cash grab and they do like they've been doing and actually put in the work for it. Because that is one of the games that, like, I mean, 6 in or 5 in, it is still like consistently like good. It's not like, oh well, this one's a bust. Like they've all been good. Like each one is its own credit of being like a great game, and hopefully they don't ease that up. Like they stick to it and making sure that they're still just good and not just get into a cash grab mode. Like they make enough cash that they don't need to do cash grab. They can actually put in the effort.
Yeah, and I guess that doesn't really lead into my next topic because I don't really know if this is considered a cash grab, but apparently there's a handheld that's being called the Xbox handheld that sort of came
Cash.
out of nowhere, and it's set to
Well,
be released real soon. Now, you think this is a cash grab? What'd you say?
yeah, because I thought you could play on your phone. I thought it already had a handheld.
I don't know. It looks good. It looks cool, but it's like almost completely useless for me. It's not like the Steam Deck where it's like the Steam Deck is useless, but I think I still might get it. This one, when I looked over the specs, I've got the screen up now. I'm gonna go through it. It
All right.
kind of seems like it seems like a useless thing for me. However, I do got to say it makes me think Nintendo is in trouble. I kind of feel like they're in
Oh,
trouble because these
eh,
things, it's not just for this one. Like, I don't think they're in trouble too much because of this handheld. They're in trouble to me because handhelds are starting to pop up a lot now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but so this is, it's called the Xbox handheld, but it's actually made by Logitech and it's called the Logitech G Cloud. And it is primarily white and then some of its little screen buttons and stuff they have like a green color underneath the like this the joysticks, and then one of the buttons I think is green, and it comes out on October 17th, so this is like literally right around the corner, less than a month. What's actually
Huh?
funny is like from their website, it's starting off like it start off with the price as saying that it's being marked down on sale. It's like, how is it
Uh,
on sale for day one? And then you could pre order it. And so the regular quote unquote price says $349.99, but then it's slashed. And so it's actually going to be $299.99. And it comes with xCloud preloaded on there. And so I guess when you first turn it on, you can log into your Xbox, your XCloud account or your Game Pass Ultimate account, I should say, and then you have access through XCloud on this thing. And so this offer is until October 17th, which is the day that is this the day that it comes out? Why supplies last? Let me make sure I'm correct because I think I said that was the day it comes out. I don't know. Let me make sure. I'm looking at it. I don't know. Maybe you could double check for me. This is that the release date, October 17th, because it just says offer. But yeah, so
Find out in a second.
its dimensions are like its length is 11 or 10.11 inches, width is 4.61 inches, and then the height of it is 1.3 inches, right? And the big thing that people are probably gonna want to know, this thing has a 1080p resolution, 16 by 9 ratio, right? And so it's going to have an octa-core CPU up to 2.3 gigahertz. And so that kind of reminds me of like cell phones technology in a way. Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G. And then, so that's the compute power here. And then the, in parentheses, is saying SD 720G for that. So, yeah.
So it looks like it does release in October.
Okay.
And it's just they have you can pre-order up until October 17th, meaning it comes out sometime right after October 17th.
Okay.
And they have
So
you can pre-order for $300 instead of the 350.
yeah, so I guess this thing's normal price in the holiday season is probably gonna be 350, and there's $50 off if you become a beta tester. Or I
Pretty
guess.
much. So here's my thing.
How do you think it
How is
looks, or how do you like how it looks? Or go ahead.
it looks okay. Like it looks okay. White and lime green is always kind of a weird combination. Like to me, white and lime green doesn't look as good as like black and lime green or gray and lime green.
Yeah,
But it's fine. Big enough screen. Looks okay. My question is, how is it different from
XCloud on your
Steam Deck?
phone.
Because like the X Cloud or X Cloud on your phone. Because like, is it just because this thing is cloud based, right? But you can play Game Pass and it connects to Steam.
Yeah,
The Steam Deck can play Game Pass as well through cloud, and it also is connected to Steam. So I'm not understanding how they're different. Is it just the same thing by two different companies?
it's a different company, so it has no affiliation with Steam or
Right.
what's the name? I forgot their parent company. Start with a V. But it has
Valve.
no, yeah, Valve.
Yeah,
I
Logitech.
almost said Viacom. I literally was about to say Viacom, and I was like, don't say Viacom. But I said Viacom, didn't I? But yeah, it's it's
Like,
Logitech.
is it just the alternate Steam Deck? Like, if you can't get a Steam Deck, you can get this, and it's almost pretty much as
Maybe
good.
it's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure like everything that it's announcing that it can do and
Yeah.
everything. It's like it has remote play. Maybe the Steam Deck doesn't have remote play. I don't know.
Well, here's
Uh,
another thing that people might care about. So the refresh rate is 60 hertz, and
okay.
so the Steam Deck's refresh rate is up there, but the Switch's isn't.
Well,
So
yeah. So this issue for Switch, I see. However,
7-inch
again,
display. Yeah.
I don't feel like people buy a Switch because of its handheldness. It's specifically for the
Pokemon.
games that are on there. Pokemon, Mario, Legend of Zelda. Like that's why they buy it. Uh so yeah, when you could just do, direct mods and get it on here, it's gonna be extra convenient because it's gonna be better. Because it can move faster.
I don't
I
think
don't know if
I don't think it's gonna be that. You definitely gonna have people, the super nerds, make videos showing that you could put Nintendo stuff on this.
yeah.
I don't see it being, if you have a regular Switch, or this thing is gonna be priced exactly the same as Switch. I don't
Oh,
see the point of pirating Switch to play on here if it's possible. You know what I mean? Like the Steam
Right.
Deck was different because the Steam Deck represented what they wanted the Switch Pro to be. This doesn't sound like it's Switch Pro material though. It sounds like it's right along the side the actual Switch. It just looks like now you can have the Xbox stuff portable if you don't want it on your phone, or if you, it's just, if you like one of those people who just have tech just for the sake of having tech, then this might be for you, you know, if you
Uh-huh.
just really, really want it. It looks cool. It would be interesting to just have all these handhelds because, like, let's say I decided to buy this, right? I would have this. I want to buy the Steam Deck, so it would be this Steam Deck, Switch, and then my little Razer Kishi that turns my phone into an Xbox handheld as it is, and then whatever else is out there, right? Because I know there was another thing out there that was like $1,000 almost that don't nobody even talk about that much to the point where I don't even know the name of it right now. That also plays like games similar to the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck just has the name value and the popularity. You know, this thing it just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't really know who this is for. If you
Well,
have
I figured it
already
out.
made, yeah,
Oh, if you had already what? If you had already got the Steam Deck?
if you've already made up your mind that you're going to get the Steam Deck, or you already have it, or you already have the Switch and you already have your phone set up. Like I have my phone set up, which is like your poor man's Steam Deck in a way, right?
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get a Steam Deck just because. I can't see myself doing a just because for two handhelds, especially if I
Yeah.
don't see myself going out in public that much playing it. When I'm out in public, I'm getting, business done, work done, whatever, right? I don't see
Uh-huh.
myself like can you imagine somebody has they're out in public with this and the Switch or this and the Steam Deck? Like would you go take both? You know what I'm saying?
No, no,
Like
no. Oh,
one in the left pocket, one in the right pocket, and then where you put your wallet. So it's like,
keep
yeah.
the who needs the wallet when you got those tags on you, man? But okay, so I figured it out.
Okay.
I found a thing that compares the two. So this is through Tech Advisor. Um,
Which two? The Switch or your Steam Deck? Which
oh,
two?
sorry, Steam Deck and Logitech.
Okay.
Okay, so they're both priced at 349, but as of now, up until the launch date of October 17th, you could get the cloud, the G Cloud for 300 instead. All right.
Okay.
Uh, apparently, um, the G Cloud is a little bit lighter in weight.
Yeah.
Also, the G Cloud has a higher resolution of full HD compared to HD. So like theirs is 1920 by 1080, where the other one's 1280 by 800. So
Right,
it's a
right,
little
right.
higher resolution. All right. Now
But
keep in
it's
mind
not
though,
OLED though. It's not OLED. It's,
not OLED.
it's
Keep
like
in mind too,
apples and oranges everywhere. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, it hasn't released yet, so we can't promise that all of this stuff will work
Yeah.
flawlessly. However, the Steam Deck, right? You can play your Steam games on there, and then you can get Xbox Game Pass, but you have to go through the Microsoft Edge browser to like work around it. It doesn't have it like natively on the system.
Yeah.
Uh, as for the cloud thing for Logitech, the G Cloud, it has access to Game Pass, GeForce Now, Steam Link, Google Play as well. So like Android games specifically, if you don't want to play them on your phone, you can play it on that
Yeah.
instead.
See, and that's what I was getting to because I saw the operating system said it was Android 11 with Google Mobile Service.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
I
why
mean,
I
I think
was.
too, if you're somebody who can't like risk your phone just dying in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah.
Or if let's say you didn't feel like upgrading to a new phone, so your battery is not that great, So if you
Right.
try and play a game, you get like 2 hours before it dies. This might be a thing for you if you really want to play those phone games. Besides that, the battery life for a Steam Deck they say is 2 to 8 hours, but no one really gets close to the 8 hours.
Yeah.
Whereas for Logitech, they said theirs is 12 plus hours. So the battery lasts longer according to them.
I do
Now
believe that
not out yet,
because
so you can't test it.
yeah.
It's not out yet, so you can't just be like, yeah, it is exactly 12 plus.
I don't think
Oh,
it'll be. I think it's 12 on standby, but I do think it's close to being more, like slightly more than what Steam Deck is, simply because this is more cloud based. Where Steam Deck you still can install to the system once you get the expansion card in there. Where this apparently it does support expansion cards, so a TF card is what it says in the description, and it has a
yep.
1 year warranty. Um, the thing is, I don't know who's gonna buy this at 300. Do you see yourself buying this if they slash the price to like 200 at some point, or maybe 150? Would it
Probably not.
entice you to? It's just still it would be like, here's this Game Boy Advanced, while you still
Yeah.
probably have a DS or something, right? It kind of has that type of feel to it, where
Yep.
if you just want to have this ultimate game room where everything's like right next to each other and you're like one of those historian type people, you have one of something, I could see
Yeah.
you doing that. But I also don't see, I don't know who this one's for, because the Steam Deck answers the
Oh,
question of what people wanted, as far as like the PC games and stuff. But
so now that's the other thing. If you have a big Steam library,
yeah,
then the Steam Deck is probably better because you could just download the games from that library and you don't need to always have a stable internet connection in order to play everything. The
right,
Logitech
right.
thing is really cloud gaming. So you need a good internet connection the entire time to play stuff. So more than likely because it has an Android thing, you might be able to like hook up like a what's it called, like a cell service sort of thing on there, where those are getting in. I'm just speculating here because I haven't seen anything on it, but like a cell service thing, in order to be able to play it outside of internet connection. But other than that, you need to be under Wi-Fi basically for the Logitech. And if I'm going to be under Wi-Fi, I'm more than likely going to have my laptop on me. So then for me, there's no reason to have that.
Yeah,
Uh, it really is probably for a person who doesn't have like a good like laptop, or maybe their own laptop, right? They don't have their own laptop, they're sharing like the computer with everybody else and they don't just want to get their own computer. Then for $300 you get this, it can still play everything.
even though this
uh
is kind of redundant, who I think should have made this? I feel
who
like Google Stadia should have made this. It still
it
seems
should, yeah,
redundant though, but I feel
but
like
it
it
would
would
have
have made more sense if it was for Google
stuff.
Stadia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense. But like if you're interested in just like having Xbox Game Pass in a handheld,
Yeah.
and that's all you want, and you don't really have a Steam library, this might be the better way to go about it because it's just a native thing. You don't have to do this workaround to get Game Pass on there. Um, which could be the other thing then. If you the household again, it's like one of those things where the household has one Xbox, right, and one like Game Pass, and you want to be able to play, but your siblings are always playing. You can get a handheld one, and you ain't got to be bothered. Uh,
I think this will thrive at 200, 199. I think this would thrive because it would compete directly with the Switch Lite, because this thing
yeah,
doesn't dock or doesn't switch anything, so we don't even know if it might have Joy-Con drift, right? But
right.
at 200 it competes with that, and people are already used to spending 200 for like a elite controller, and I'm pretty sure that's
Oh,
where the DualSense Edge is going to be. At 300 it just seems unnecessary. At 200 I could see people getting it just to have it, because they pay that kind of money for those controllers, scuff controllers, the elite controller. You know what I mean? I could
yep.
see at $200, even if you never really test it out in the public like that. Like, I could see you getting it that way. Because there's a lot of other costs here that we don't really talk about, because you still have to have an Xbox you still have to have an account, right? You still have to have just to have access to all the cloud games. Um, and then also, let's see, cloud requires a cloud subscription service sold separately to work as intended. Yeah, such as NVIDIA GeForce Now or
Uh-huh.
Xbox Game Pass. So you got to have a subscription. So you're still paying, you know.
Yeah.
So
Uh, I mean, GeForce Now is pretty cool to be able to do it off of that, I guess. But like,
yeah,
for me personally, again, it won't be like I feel like this also might be good again for the person who has like a nice kind of like work laptop,
yeah,
but like not good for gaming and they don't want to spend the money on a new laptop. They can just get
yeah,
this like off to the side. It's more of a like a casual. I just want to do this sometimes. I feel like that's what it's for. It's not going to be anything for like a hardcore person because they're going to already have the not. I don't want to say better, uh, but basically they will have the like more needed stuff. That this just feels like an unnecessary extra.
yeah. So it does have a
Right?
headphone jack, and then it does have USB C support. So
Yeah. Now,
yeah,
well, for the remote play thing, that might be where it's forced. So somebody who's like a really big, like Xbox person,
yeah,
oh, and then they're going to be leaving for a while and staying in a hotel with some people, maybe, and they want to remote play because like that was one of the things that the PSP and the PS Vita could do, where it
mm-hmm.
like hook pretty much connects to your home system, so even if you're not home, you can continue playing stuff. And I've actually used that before, oh, with a Vita, and I went over a friend's house and we were playing DC Universe Online together.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have my laptop on, or it was at the time before they allowed crossplay. Um, so my like PlayStation character was different from a laptop character, and I wasn't gonna bring my entire PlayStation and a TV and all that. So he had his hooked up for that like for DC Universe, and then I had my PS Vita that was remote playing from my home PlayStation. Uh, we were able to do that, so it might be something for an Xbox person to do. But outside of that, if you're doing this for like Steam, you just get a Steam Deck.
Yeah, the one thing that kills this thing for me when I think about it is if you can't do emulation on it in any way,
Yeah,
that might kill it. I'm pretty sure somebody will figure out a way to work around to do it. But if they pre-design this thing to like stop you from doing stuff like that, where Steam Deck almost champions that, then that kind of
yeah.
kills this a little bit. One thing that I did saw that stood out to me is that in the description for one of the sites that I saw, they called it a Nintendo style design, and
Uh,
it just reminded me of like Nintendo does not have an empty lane in the handheld space anymore. They do
nope.
not, and it's going to keep getting more crowded because I think more of these devices are going to just start coming out for every other person, and it's going to probably be even every last one of them probably going to be completely useless if you're like a hardcore gamer and you really just looking at it like, why would I buy this? And they're going to
Yeah.
get bought by popularity alone, by whoever is going to start advertising it. If like streamers get a hold of it and they start putting it as props in their background and everything, like that's what's going
Uh,
to sell it. But I don't see the point of it at 300. I only see if you just want to waste the $200. I do see a lot of people getting it at 200 again just because they pay that kind of money for certain specialty controllers anyway. Statues and that type of stuff anyway, collector edition games anyway. So I could see it for that crowd if they just really wanted to do it. But I don't
huh.
if you're a regular person and you just have the Steam Deck, the Switch, this thing, and your phone, and probably some other gadget that I can't think of right now. Please tell me in the comment section how you rotate that around, if you really do rotate it. Because there's this other thing that's getting some noise. I don't know the official name of it, but it was like a mini Game Boy Color. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like it looks exactly like a Game Boy Color, but it's like
That's
a
cool.
small little system that's like pure emulation. Is it can emulate everything, and it's only the aesthetic, because you still can do the same
Interesting.
thing on your phone. You can still do the same thing on your laptop, just like everything this thing is going to offer you can do on your laptop. It's just the aesthetic of it. It's just the appeal of it. And I just wonder if more devices are going to start coming out because of that. Because if you go on Amazon right now, you'll find a bunch of these type of devices that are all like based off of like all these like rural areas and stuff, and all these like wish.com looking things. It's like
Oh,
they got a bunch of them out here, but now we start to get big names put their name on it and make it look a little bit more premium like this thing, because it does still have a nice look to it. It's
yeah.
just, to me, it is like the handheld version of the Chromebook, basically. Because it's like the Chromebook looked nice too. It was made to look as if it was a Mac Air, only it was like extremely cheap, and it was meant for you to only browse the internet, right? And you had hardly no room on it to do anything else. And it's like, I kind of seem, it seems like this is what we're doing now, just in video gaming. But the thing about it is, when people have these type of devices, it's usually so that they can save money. I don't really see how you're saving money by buying this at $300 though, and then you still have to pay the monthly subscription. It's like, why don't you just get the Series S and then get, you don't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see anybody getting a Series S and then getting this, and then they take this out, and then you at home with the Series S. I don't. I don't know where this pairs. Because that's the only thing.
Yeah.
I definitely don't see this being somebody's like their prime system. Like this is their number one system. I don't see anybody coming out of nowhere saying that. So it's like, I don't know who this is really for, because the Steam Deck has already covered that. But anyway, that's all I have to say on it. I don't know if you have anything else to say on this machine. The only other thing that I want to mention as far as Xbox is concerned was that, um, as this was being announced, the other thing that happened was Xbox apparently fixed their DRM issues that they were having. So if you
Uh,
had disc-based games, they released some patches to the system to where you could still play it offline as long as everything was installed and everything, and you should be fine a little bit. So before, you couldn't play Jack. It's like you had to be online to access everything. Well, now you could get some offline play in there. But it also leads into my next topic, which is Nintendo. Because this is
all
funny,
right.
because as Xbox is fixing the DRM, this news is slightly old, but Nintendo is introducing DRM. They're doing the opposite. So I don't know if you are aware. This is technically kind of old news. It didn't really go too far because it hasn't happened yet. But there was a technology called Denevo. I think it's called Denevo. Do you know anything about this before I go
I
into
don't.
it? It was basically um, a DRM check. So they're going to check to make sure you don't have like a hacked Switch or a pirated game, that kind of thing.
Ugh.
It's like, Switch, what do you do? Or Nintendo, like, your stuff is the most pirated. Everything that we just went on about the handhelds, it's like these handhelds were made to pirate your stuff half the time. But the biggest issue with it was Denevo's technology was mainly known for hurting the performance of games, um, while you're playing it. And so on PC, I think there were some examples where it can actually take up to 20 FPS away from you while it was on a game doing its check. And they claim that it should not hurt the performance of the Switch. The only problem is just they claim it hasn't been released yet, and the Switch can't afford to get any performance hinderings.
It's already the lowest performer. Like,
Yeah.
oh.
So I believe it's going to be offline cartridge base. It's going to be on the cartridges. If you have Mario 3D All Stars, I believe that was like one of the first games going forward where it was supposed to automatically check to see if you hacked your Switch, and if you did, it was supposed to brick it. Like I don't know if anybody that was something that kind of just was
They
told.
bought it. Let them do what they want with it. Like I don't understand this logic. It's so stupid.
So
It's
yeah,
dumb.
um, ain't that I don't know too much detail about this thing that much. I've only done a little bit of research on it. All I know is it's supposed to be offline cartridge based, and then it reports back to Nintendo whenever you get online, something like that. It's like it works around it because you can't really be online all the time on the Switch anyway, because you're gonna be a handheld with it most of the time for most of the
Uh-huh.
players or some of the players. But that's just what they're trying to do. The thing about it is, it's not gonna stop it. Anybody who is trying to pirate, they don't pirate based on the actual stuff that they bought. Like whenever you see somebody online saying like, "Oh, it's just you backing up your Switch game that you purchased and you are allowed to do this even though they don't want you to do it." It's like, yeah, that's technically allowed, but the people, they're going to pirate the game directly from the internet. They're not going to back up anything. They're not going to buy anything. Like they're literally going to. You just shot this man's head off. I'm looking at the screen. They did. They're gonna basically, pirate from a random website of somebody Nintendo hasn't put in jail forever yet, and they're gonna take that and put it on their Steam Decks or on their laptop or regular PC. And so, if it's hindering like performance, it's only going to affect the people who actually bought it the legit way, because everybody else is going to turn it up depending on whatever system they got and stuff. And so,
Here's my
yeah,
so one. Uh, who is hacking and doing downloads and pirating games on the Switch? It's not like, why would I do that when I could play it at a higher res on something else? Like, why? It's not gonna be on the Switch. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, but the pirate this game at 720. Like,
I
it's
don't
like,
even
no, I'm
know.
doing it on the laptop because I can play it better. Two,
In
for those watching on the screen, do you remember this?
I
This is the part where we're supposed to wait till the cars drive on the bridge and then push the detonator to blow them up, and you just instantly pushed it, so we had to jump down and shoot them.
oh my bad, I don't remember. I do remember that part. Yeah, I do remember that part, but I I I messed up, man. I messed up. My bad. My
But yeah,
bad.
I don't understand what Switch is doing in this case.
I do know in the very, very beginning, people were jailbreaking their switches so that they can put like all of the
YouTube,
stuff that. Yeah, it was that, and also the Super Nintendo games. Like they were able to
uh,
like go over and do
all of
Super
that.
Nintendo directly on the game
They
on the
don't want
system.
you to jailbreak Super Nintendo. They want you to buy Nintendo Switch
The
Online.
online. It
Plus,
was years before they even offered it. That was the funny part too. It wasn't even like they like now they're drip feeding it and like doing stuff like GoldenEye and all of that. Like they didn't have all of that before, and so people was just putting their ROMs on the Switch, having it on the go. Because you still had your what's the name card, the little flash card. You can have all that extra data, and so that's what people were doing. But that was like 2018, 17, 18 when it first
there
came
are
out.
enough people,
So
there are enough people who would buy all this stuff legitimately. They don't need to sit here and focus their efforts on punishing those who don't. They should focus on creating a dock that can increase game output. Even if you have a regular Switch, so you don't need to buy a new one, you can just buy a new dock. That's what they should be doing instead of trying to stop
yeah,
hackers who ain't bothering nobody. and they're not really losing that much money. It's not like this whole epidemic of like them losing stuff. Like you have enough money, and you're just being annoying, like greedy, greedy people. Make me sick.
Speaking of docks, that goes into my next topic, which is a small topic, but apparently the Steam Deck is going to have a dock that is first party dock. Like they're gonna make an actual dock for this thing. And I think I mentioned last week that it was supposed to have like software to support um Joy-Cons, and so now this thing's gonna have its own dock. So the Steam Deck is already imitating the Switch a lot. Like, and they're fully aware of what they're doing, Valve. But yeah, so they're gonna have a dock eventually. I'm gonna have more information on that as time goes on. But
All right.
yeah, so they're gonna have their own dock. Any thoughts on this dock situation?
That's like at first when you said they're gonna have a dock, I'm like, so it's just gonna be a PC. But now I see what they're trying to do. They're really just trying to get rid of
Yeah,
Nintendo. And to be honest, if Nintendo is more focused on stopping people from getting free stuff than they are from making their stuff better, they're gonna lose. Like they're gonna lose the people to Steam for sure.
yeah,
Like honestly,
yeah,
the only people to keep is the people who don't feel like putting in the effort
yeah.
to
Because
like
the
get
advantage
stuff.
that they have is that the Switch at the end of the day is still in stores. I don't think this Logitech G is going to be in stores, just like how
Nah.
Steam Deck isn't. Like you got to buy that stuff online. So this is probably going to be bought online too. Um, or the Logitech G is going to be bought online. The Steam Deck, the dock, all of that is bought online right now. Where Steam
Yeah.
Deck, you can just go into Walmart. You go into Walmart. You could probably go into Myers, Walmart, Myers, wherever you're at. You can go into a department store, or retail store, and just grab one for $200. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So
speaking of Nintendo,
yeah.
something we forgot to talk about last week.
Right before
There's a
we
new
get into
Legend.
that, give me 1 second. Right before we get into that, I just realized we are at the 1 hour mark. So I just want to say, if you're watching, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for tuning in. At the middle point, I usually always just tell you guys about the free games that you can get that's 100% free that you don't have to spend any money on. I told you about like some of the deals that I caught earlier in the beginning. Well, here's where you can get stuff 100% free. And I'm talking about Epic Games if you have a PC, or you could probably use this. Now, here's something that's interesting because I'm pretty sure if you buy this Logitech G and you have the expansion card, or you have the like a flash drive. We'll get more information on this. I'm gonna look into it. I wonder if you could just, play the free Epic games. Now I can find some use for this. Like, okay, if I only install the free stuff, it's like it's a one
Uh,
time payment on that, and I'm not doing anything with XCloud or whatever. I'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, I can
because you
get.
have to stream like from a
Yeah,
cloud thing, and I don't think Epic does cloud streaming. I think it's a download.
yeah. I'm just saying. I wonder if you can install it on like a flash drive to go into it,
Oh, maybe.
and then see. I don't know too much about it. I'm pretty sure what we said before is just strictly cloud, but somebody
Uh,
somewhere would tamper with this thing, and I'm gonna figure that out later. But anyways, even if you don't have something like this or any other handheld device, you can make a profile. You could probably make it on your phone or computer or a library computer and start adding these games once a week. So, Epic Games gives out free games. The first one that I want to mention, so it's two games I want to mention that I mentioned last week that you only have a few days to get this. As of this recording, it is from now until September 29th. The first game was Ark Survival Evolved, and then the second one was Gloomhaven. And so
yeah.
those are due by, you have to claim them by November 29th. You don't need a credit card or anything. And so when you do get your hands on a device, probably the Steam Deck, not so much this cloud. We'll figure it out though in the future. You got like a month to find out. But you can save these games in the meantime, is what I'm saying. So if it does support it, you've already got, Ark Survival. And so the next games that come out is going to be on the 29th. From the 29th of September to October 6th, you can get a game called Runbow. Runbow. It's not Rainbow, it's Runbow. And then a game called the Drone Racing League. And so I know they probably not as what you're expecting, but hey, it's free. Free is free. And you can build a profile. I actually have over 100 games on there now under Epic Games. And so if I did get a device, because the Steam Deck was what I wanted to get, if I get one of these devices, I could start installing some of these free games on there, and not like my super big AAA games. I don't really believe in putting the big, nice games on one of those systems. I would put it on my curved monitor or my 4K TV, right? So, yeah. But for some of these little games, the handhelds, whatever, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids looking game, or these, what I'm saying?
I looked at screenshots. Runbow looks fun. It's like a chaotic party platformer. It looks pretty fun. Yeah. And then, of course, I talked a lot about Gloomhaven last week. Yeah, so, I mean, some of them, like, they're not going to part. But then again, like you said, free is free. Like,
free is free.
It can open up your eyes to, like, some new stuff. Look at to always put into perspective, the biggest game for, like, a couple months was Among Us, right? And that was, like, an unknown game. And then it just up. So at any point, free games could be the next like big unknown game. And you get to be at the start of it.
Yeah. So that was one of them. These are the free games. Now, a game that we forgot to mention last week that is not going to be free. A game that is probably one of the biggest games on Nintendo, and I feel like I know I myself downplay Nintendo a lot, but I will say I personally am looking forward to this game that is The Legend of Zelda, and it's not Breath of the Wild. It's going to be called The Legend of Zelda. What is it called? Tears of the Kingdom. That's what it's called. Tears of the Kingdom. So
is it Tears or Tears? Because everyone's been saying Tears of the Kingdom, and Tear and Terror are spelled the same way. So I don't know if it's either Tears of the Kingdom or Tears of the Kingdom, like crying.
I think it's Tears of the Kingdom. It's Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm sorry, not.
I've been hearing I've been hearing Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom instead of Tears. Everyone I've heard said Tears.
We gotta look this
and
up.
And Nintendo hasn't said it.
Breath of the Wild 2. We're gonna look it up. So, what is the name? We all knew about Breath of the Wild 2. Sequel, Tears of the Kingdom. So,
but tear is spelled the same way. Like crying tears is spelled the same way as tears.
Yeah, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Tears. They didn't say it because there's no voice acting. Well, there's some voice acting. But
tears. It's crying. It's crying. I just looked. It says, in case you were wondering, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is pronounced like tears of joy. So it's crying. Tears of the Kingdom.
Your tears are delicious.
Yeah, that.
Yes. So
tears isn't crying, not tears like a piece of paper.
I enjoyed the first Breath of the Wild. Say it again.
Sorry, according to Eurogamer, who clarified.
Shout out to you.
But yeah, tears as in crying. So Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay. All right. Well, yes, I did not shed a tear when playing the first game, but I did enjoy the first game a lot, and I will say, I initially was going into the library when I rented Kirby. I was actually going in there to rent Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity because that was a game that was known to like really drop its frame rate, but it's supposed to be the prequel or backstory to everything that happened leading up to Zelda Breath of the Wild. And so Link didn't lose his memory. He was in the middle of the war. All the other characters were there. You're fighting all the stuff. And um, basically, it was too many people on screen at a time, in that type of game. And the frame
Yeah.
rate would dip down to the teens. Sometime it would dip down into the single digits. And that's how it launched. And so I was like, all right, well, I want to play this, but I'm not really big on buying it right now. It has gone down to like $45 a couple times, but I didn't like that the performance wasn't really fixed, and I kept trying to find like, has anybody addressed this? Like, it's been a year or whatever. Has it been fixed yet? I haven't seen anything on that. So I was like, well, I'll rent it. Local library for free Game Pass.
There you go.
And when I was going through it, they had Kirby in the front. I was like, nope, I'm renting that. It just left. I was like, nope. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, this Kirby. I'll get back to that later. But
Uh,
yeah, go
what
ahead.
was your first Zelda game?
This one, I'll admit it.
Oh,
Unless you
all
want to
right.
count Super Smash Brothers, the Super Smash
Nah.
Brothers count? It don't count.
So
I
I didn't grow up with a Nintendo. My friend
mhm.
had a 64, right, and I was able to play that. And then I had another friend who had a GameCube, but I was PlayStation. Uh,
The
so
same.
when I got into games, I started with PlayStation. So I never really had a Nintendo system until I got like my Game Boy Advance SP, and then all I got pretty much was Pokemon. Uh, then when I finally got like a DS and like that stuff, and my friend who played a lot of or my brother pretty much, he played a lot of Legend of Zelda. Uh, so he was just like, "Yo, you gotta like play one of these." So my first one was one of the ones that some people complain about actually, which I thought it was always good.
Hmm.
And it was Phantom Hourglass, the one because it used the stylus and you have to draw an hourglass on the screen, and it like it would like use the ability to like freeze time for a couple seconds, and that was like a big mechanic
Yeah.
in the game. But it's one of the ones that unfortunately, like if you do try to emulate, you can't really know because it required you to like move and sometimes draw at the same time. Like if you stood still to try and draw on the second screen, you gonna get hit. So like in that final boss, you're like running and drawing at the same time. Uh, but it was a cool game, and then I've been playing some of the other ones too. Great series. So this new one looks pretty good. It's just there was so much mess in the rest of that Nintendo show that yeah, we completely forgot to talk about it.
Yeah, and this was, I guess, their main event, of course. But I
Uh
will
huh.
say, even though this was my first Zelda game that I played, I'm very well aware of the fan base and the franchise, obviously. Link was
Yeah.
my favorite character to play in Super Smash Brothers, and I
Uh,
also played Link a lot when he was put in Soul Calibur, I believe, 4 on the
yeah.
GameCube. And so I'm very well aware of him. I do plan to go back and play Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time. I'll admit, yes, they are ROMs, and and I know Nintendo don't want to hear it, but I do plan on playing them. I'm not gonna play it on the expansion pack. I'm sorry, but I do have. I had already had all that stuff before they even announced it. I'm gonna be honest, way before I even had the YouTube channel. Everybody, but
Majora's Mask is my bro's favorite.
hmm
I played. I think it's called. Is it called Twilight Princess or something like that? The one where you can turn into a
yep,
wolf.
yep. Twilight
That one
Prince.
was my
Well,
favorite.
yeah, yeah. I think because I think they had like a GameCube and Wii version, and
Yeah, I
then
played the Wii version.
yeah, and then there was Skyward Sword that just got its
Uh,
remake, and then you have like the little Toon Link games too.
and I
And
have
then
Link's Awakening as well.
yeah, those top-down games that look like Tunic,
Yep.
the original ones. So
I
it's
will
plenty.
say what I like about it too is like something like Breath of the Wild and like Twilight Princess and those, they're way more. It's like an action adventure platformer, like puzzle
Yeah.
solver.
Right.
Where the ones that are like more top down are more platform puzzle solver action games, right? Like the focus is more on the puzzles
Mm-hmm.
than it is the like action. So it's nice because like you get like this sort of the same experience with either one, but it just depends on which type of thing you prefer. Do you prefer action and fighting, or do you prefer the like puzzles and everything? And you get to pick which one you want to play.
Yeah. So I'm very big into retro, but I will say I'll admit a lot of the stuff that I have in retro, I do access it through emulation. Even though I'm going back to buy some of the systems, the next older system I think I'm going to get is either going to be the 360 or the PS3. I'm going to get one of those two really soon, but like I like to play everything in real time. Like I could play something that's older that's probably at 30 frames, and then
Uh,
play something that's just like grand at like 100 frames on my PC, or a nice 4K with ray tracing and everything on my regular TV. I could do that. Especially like what I think about gaming the most is when you do have all these different systems and stuff, and then you just switch between them and you playing different styles at different times, and you're playing like different timeline worth of games and how they make games now versus how they make games way before, and you just play them and you have fun. You just everything else you just add on. It's like an add-on. I don't like to play one thing and then skip out on something else. So like I'm actually very anti console war as far as like in real life, but I love to watch the ignorance from afar. I don't participate in it, but I do watch the ignorance for anybody who's wondering. But in when it comes down to, I want it all. I want to play everything at any level. Some of my favorite games that I've played recently were old, like old. You know what I'm saying? I'll
huh.
admit also I played Luigi's Mansion, the first Luigi's Mansion, through emulation on my PC. It ran perfectly. I had a GameCube controller with USB connection, put it right into the PC, and I had a GameCube a long time ago, but didn't have that game. When I was young, I couldn't afford every last one of them, but Luigi's Mansion was great. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that I bought a 3DS for my co-host and went and bought Luigi's Mansion 2 to play before playing Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch, which I already own. So I don't just emulate. I do support, just like how I said I went and bought Kirby after I rented it and played it all the way to completion, technically. Because I wanted to play the Dark Souls portion and everything, and get my butt kicked and work at it and get better at it. And I didn't think a Kirby game would go there. But yeah.
Right.
So what are we talking about? So Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Um, for me, it will probably be a day one buy. I don't know what else is coming out in May. Everything else is like right before May. I don't know what
Uh-huh.
else. Maybe Starfield or something. I don't know what else is coming out. But Breath of the Wild, I'm pretty sure it's gonna still be $60 or 60 or 50. I'd normally be trying to get the $50 little thing from Walmart, but I wouldn't mind paying the full 60 for Breath of the Wild if I can get the steelbook somewhere. Like if they have a steelbook at, I'm a steelbook collector too sometimes. Um and I know Best Buy does steelbooks. But yeah, I probably would get Breath of the Wild too, or Tears of the Kingdom day one. I was very much, I enjoyed Breath of the Wild. I will say there were a lot of moments where it seemed like I was just running around for the sake of running around. And it worked okay because when I played this was when we very, very first had the lockdowns. I played it a little bit before, but it was like I really was putting in real time during that time. And then I think I clocked in over 200 hours before I was fully done with it. And I know for a lot of Zelda heads that seems pretty light because I know people put in almost 3,000 hours into this. They just be in this game, just doing
Yeah.
everything. After a while, it gets redundant. If you beat Ganon, it's kind of redundant, but it's yeah. I don't know. Are you gonna get this? You didn't finish Breath of the Wild yet, right?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna get it right away because just I have such a big like backlog of stuff, and to be honest, like I got about maybe a fifth of the way into Breath of the Wild, like the first one, and
Yeah.
then I took a break. Some other stuff came out, and I was just trying to play some other stuff, and I got stuck. Like I didn't know what I was like really supposed to be doing next. So I took a break, and then when I came back to it, I lost all abilities that I had, like all of my like. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know where I'm at, and I think it's just best that I just restart it
Okay.
instead. So it's finding the time to restart it while also knowing I got a backlog of this, that, and the other. And there's some other Switch games I want to play. Like I got Hades on the Switch, and I really want to play that, and that's probably going to be next.
Yeah.
Uh, and some other stuff. So it's just eventually getting to it, and I don't know if I'm going to have it finished by the time Tears comes out, but like I'll get Tears eventually. Like I know I'll get to it eventually. I just don't think it's going to be any sort of right away. I mean, by the time I get to it, it's still going to cost like $60, $70 because it's never going to go on sale. But I'll
Yeah.
get to it
It
eventually.
might. Who knows? I know if anything, you'll see the sale at Walmart before everywhere else because Walmart drops the price of games like $10. However, I have noticed for the last couple of games they haven't done that, and that's Mario
Oh,
Strikers and Kirby Forgotten Land. Maybe
uh
if you find it online somewhere, you might get the $10 off. But I think for something like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, it might be worth the extra $10 because on top of that, I'm very interested. For the last thing I could say on this, I'm interested in to see the industry, when they create their clones, because this game spawned, Genshin Impact. There's a game that I can't think of. I think it's called Chia. I'm actually doing a full video on that. That was one of the games that I actually wrote a script on. I don't know if y'all know
oh,
this. I wrote a script on that and I just kind of stopped after I was done with the script because I had some stuff going on. But I'm going to talk about that game in full because I'm interested in that. But there were some clones. That a lot of clones came from this. I'm gonna
Portal
go
Phoenix,
there.
right? Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna go there too. Sonic Frontiers.
uh
So yeah, so good and bad. We've seen some clones. So I'm only going to expect more clones from this
yeah,
game. I think they're going to dissect the crap out of this. So at the very least, you'll get some crappy clones, and then you'll get a very very good Zelda game.
yeah. And it's gonna be a good game. I'm sure of it. So they figured that formula out, and it never feels like that's another one. It's like with GTA, where it's like they
Yeah,
figured the formula out. They're good on their story, and in my opinion, it never feels like a cash grab. Like there's
yeah,
so many seasons in, and each one still feels just like a game that was like well loved in development. Like, uh, so it's nice to see that like these franchises keep going, and it's never just like, ugh, this one. Like even though people like didn't really like I said, Phantom Hourglass,
yeah,
that being my introduction into it, I really liked it. I thought it was a good one, and it like playing that as my first one with everyone else saying, ugh. I could say that playing that made me want to like, okay, yeah, let's start checking some of these other ones out. If it was really bad, I would have been like, nah, I'm not feeling it for this franchise. So it's nice to like something like that and something like GTA, especially starting with like 3 onward when they really got their formula. You're never gonna feel like, let me go play these. Like I don't want to play this anymore. And these other ones, I don't see what people are talking about. Unlike like Saints Row or something like that. Uh,
right.
so it's nice to see that the love is still in there. So yeah, this one's gonna be good too.
All right. Well, real quick, why don't you tell me about this Iron Man game? Let's move on.
Yeah. So the EA Motive, who's making the Dead Space remake, they're gonna be working on a EA's Iron Man game, and they want it to be a 100% authentic Marvel experience, which I think there is their way of saying uh what Spider-Man was from Insomniac is what they plan on doing for Iron Man. So they want it to be
Okay.
it's like its own story. They have apparently it's like a smaller team working on it, which I mean that usually means there's not going to be a bunch of like too many cooks in the kitchen, right? Or people butting heads or trying to do too much. It's like a very focused game, and should be good because I mean, look at Arkham Asylum was a
Yeah.
small team, and look at that. Like it was so small that like one of their people, they had one guy working on cape physics. Like that was his entire job for the whole thing was to making sure the cape flowed correctly. Then like it was like, all right, you two work on the story, you do this, like, and it came out great. So this Iron Man game, should be good. And I mean, they're doing the Captain America Black Panther game.
Okay.
It seems like they're trying to fix the wrongs of the Avengers game, which was clearly a cash grab, with like,
Here,
uh,
okay. So here's what I want you to do. So for anybody out there, I want to let you know I just realized my package is outside, so I'm gonna grab it real quick. I'm gonna give you 60 seconds. Tell us about. I'm gonna put myself on mute while I go get this package. Tell us about your experience of Marvel
Marvel.
Avengers, and I'll be right back. Yeah.
All right. All right. So listen up for our fan base listening. So I played Marvel Avengers and I pre-ordered that game because I'm like, it's all the Avengers together. They figured out a formula with Spider-Man and it should be good, story driven. And all these rumors came out that was like it's gonna be a cash grab and like they're focusing on just paying mechanics and all of that other stuff. But I'm like, I'm still gonna try this out. And I got the game, I played it, the story was decent. I didn't mind the people not looking exactly like their movie counterpart in the same way Insomniac Spider-Man didn't. However, you can see the missions where you played the one person solo were built for that person to have fun. When they made a mission where you could play as any of the four people, it was just a generic flat landscape where Iron Man would punch a guy and it takes like 10 punches to beat him. And for the Hulk, it also takes 10 punches to beat him because apparently they're the same strength. And the whole game was just boring. And you could tell they were just microtransactions. Buy this, that, and the other for this special suit. But then it was just repetitive gameplay over and over and over again. And that combined with WWE 2K20 is the reason why I don't pre-order games anymore. Because those two ruined it all for me. It was just things that should have been fine and then were just a mess. And now I can't trust it. Like Gotham Knights should have been a day one pre-order. And nope, I'm scared. I don't trust it. Anything else that looks good, it's like that's cool. Like I'm still not gonna pre-order it. Ragnarok should be great. It's not about to get a pre-order because I need to hear how it is first because those two ruined it all. So yeah, hopefully these new games that are coming out are not going to be Marvel Avengers because that thing was bad. I haven't even gotten around to the Spider-Man DLC. Like I just don't even want to play it anymore. I didn't play any of the DLC stuff, and I figured I'd run through it again when all of it's out. And then they were like, "Here's your promised Spider-Man. It's just going to be a whack version of him with no extra story because it's a PlayStation exclusive." And we realized that this game is bad and we want it to be dead. So here you can just run around and be Spider-Man for a little bit, and that was bad too. Like the whole thing is just bad. It should have been a great game, and
Well,
it's
I'm
just
back. Well, I'm back at the main thing I would say is I'm hoping the Iron Man game is not like that. You
yeah,
know, a super fan like me will probably say I will want to see him a game where he starts off building his suit all the way until he does the snap. That's not what we're going to see probably, but
nah, it's gonna be its
hopefully,
own story like Spider-Man. But that's the thing. If it could be a focused Iron Man game, so the game can be designed to like really like emphasize like Iron Man stuff, like flying around and shooting. Like they can make that a core thing where it's like, nah, you need to be Iron Man for this game. It shouldn't be able to also just be done by like Captain America, right?
yeah.
And that's where Spider-Man was, where it's like you gotta be Spider-Man in this living city, and that's hopefully what this Captain America Black Panther game will be as well. So I think with them focusing on like we're really gonna do this hero, or even the Guardians of the Galaxy one, where you're like you are Star Lord,
Yeah.
manage your team and do this stuff where they can focus because clearly when they try and do the whole Avengers team, they don't know what they're doing. So this should hopefully be much better. Hopefully.
Well, hopefully it will be. But thank you for holding the fort down
Yeah,
while
man.
I got my package, and I also took a quick bathroom break. I cheated, but that's all right. I'm back. Hit the like button if you are here. We might still hit the 2 hour mark. It's so funny. I think that I keep trying to not do that, but we might still hit it. We might actually. I hope we don't go over it because I think the rest of this might actually be quick. But the next thing that I have here is the Tekken 8 creator. So I think I did see some stuff of what he was saying.
Yeah.
But he says the PC is no longer the master race, right? The Tekken 8
Yep.
creator.
PC Master Race is no more. So this has been updated, but basically in an interview when he was talking, the creator, Katsuhiro Harada,
Mm-hmm.
was saying that he's a big like PC gamer. He loves building PCs and all this other stuff to like always have the graphical edge and everything. So he was like making kind of like a joke, but kind of saying that like it's so unfair now that consoles are like so capable where it's like you put all this money into like a PC to just be this graphical beast better than everything, where in comparison these consoles can also do really great stuff for like a fraction of the price and everything, which we've always talked about. It's like why put in all of this money to have the most top-notch PC when for $500 you can like get a console that can kind of do close to the same.
I find that
Uh
to be slightly ignorant, though. Because
yeah.
are we
Well,
basing this on the frame rate? Because the frame rate
that's
still
what he,
caps at 60 frames. Where on PC side, a lot of people are in the 80 to 90 frames on average. And then they go to like 120 up to like 200 if they
yeah. I
really
think what
have a
he
nice system. Yeah.
I think what he was trying to like kind of hint at was just kind of saying that like for a long time it was like if you want your thing to look good, like
Mm-hmm.
really good, PC is like your main like your only option really.
Yeah.
Whereas now like with the consoles where they're at, even if it can't do that strong, like as strong as your top-notch PC, for a comparable PC that most people would get, the consoles are still really good, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you got the money and the effort to really be like on some like I got the 3090, like yeah, you're gonna be outperforming everybody. But for your average, like I could get something in the 2000s, for the graphical aspect of it, like the console's gonna be a little bit more comparable to it.
Yeah.
So and it's not good. It's like the PC will always still have the edge, but I think the gap between PC and console on a performance or graphical edge is a little bit closing. Like I would still give it to PC, but like it is closing a little bit. But then when you also compare it to the price, right? Like the $2,000 you could spend
Yeah. There's no
to
question.
like really make your game look 100% better
Yeah.
versus something that still looks really good for 500. Like I think that's the point he's trying to make. But he
Yeah.
did clarify. So he updated and did clarify that he was saying like of course they had to do it on Twitter that he didn't use the word unfair. Like that was what the interview said is that it was unfair, but of course it was IGN, so they messed up. It turns out he was like I didn't use strong words like unfair, but he's like somebody who's a hobbyist of PC builds. He
Yeah.
was just saying that the PS5 and the Xbox S has a good balance between price and performance. That's what he was trying to say. It's
Yeah.
like it's such a nicer balance between the two, for price and performance. Where like to really make your PC way more graphical, you have to really understand is it worth the price? Which for many it will be, but for not for everybody. So that's what he was trying to clarify.
For me,
All I know
what makes it
Tekken 8.
worth the price is just for a computer, it's because of everything else that I'm also doing, which
Yes.
I guess just for the sake of right now, running a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody else, modding out your games, doing things to
Yep.
emulated games, making them look
Yep.
crazy. I've seen emulated old games on a 3090 with like upscaled, assets all across the board because of the card itself.
Yeah.
Especially Super Mario 64. Somebody put, I think the name of the video was like, I bought a $1,500 graphics card just so I can do this or something like that. I guess it was more of a clickbaity title, but he had a
Yeah.
3090 on Super Mario 64, which I'm pretty sure was a ROM, and he had like ray tracing on and stuff, and it was making the water look somewhat like believable. It didn't look like N64. It was making it like stuff was starting to jump to like 360 PS3 time, Wii time. It was interesting how you could see that, go like do that type of thing, and then if you go back and go through any of the PS2 ROMs and start upscaling stuff, it's like, yo, you got something there, you know. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm interested in it. And like, I have like a
Yeah.
laptop, but I plan to get a regular, nice
And I have
size tower.
Yeah, I have a nice size tower and everything. I mean, I'm still
Hmm.
just a console player because I can't help it. But I have a
Yeah,
nice size tower with good games on there, and like I definitely when I have a full like gaming room like set up, then I'm gonna get like pretty much a lot more into PC gaming. It's just from the way the setup is now, it's a lot more convenient to just use the console. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, so we'll get
After I
there.
get
PC.
all the pieces though, I always go for where the platform has it the cheapest, as well as
Also,
like the performance, like who's playing it better, basically.
yeah.
Somewhere in between of that. So that's what I go off of afterwards. And there are people who like, they put all their money into the hardware and then afterwards they do pirate everything else. Let's be honest, I've seen it. So um it is what it is. I would say the more the merrier is how I look at it. The more the merrier, as far as, you can't go wrong with having more gadgets. But I guess we can go on to the next topic. Speaking of the more the merrier, or lack of the more the merrier, maybe it's the least. We're finding out that Street Fighter 6 has 18 playable characters at launch. Is this what we're hearing? Is
Yeah.
this at launch? And then we also want to know if this is enough. This is your topic, right?
Yeah, so they have 18 at launch, and then there was 4 leaked characters that are missing, so probably DLC.
Yeah,
Uh, but I'm wondering with like the breadth of fighting games out there, right, and where these go,
yeah,
is 18 considered enough? Like for like a fighting game. Now I remember there was that debacle with Street Fighter where didn't they release with like 6 or 8 characters, something like that?
yeah. Then they had their
One of their
championship
games that they
edition.
had,
I just figured they were going to do the same kind of thing here. They were just going to have, other people come on
right?
after the fact.
Yeah, two were like, for example, the Power Rangers fighting game. Started with like 8 characters and then just kept adding a few
Yeah,
more here and there. But then you get games like Tekken or Virtual Fighter or that game I think it was called like Skullgirls or Smash Bros or uh like just breadth of fighting games that are out there
a lot.
that are really good, but then they have like a nice wider range of characters to really use and like figure out who you like the most. But then it does wonder, it's like, is that good or is that bad? Because sometimes you can just say like it's 18 enough in comparison.
I'm glad you brought
For
up Super Smash Brothers, because the one thing that stood out to me is Super Smash Brothers Melee, the one on GameCube. I'm gonna go with that one. That one's still to this day considered one of the best, if not the best. Ultimate
Yep.
comes close, right? Some people say Ultimate is better. It's normally a toss up between those two, but
Uh,
in that game, you had less characters to play when you first start, but you unlock everybody else in the game. So
Right.
what I would say is 18 is enough if you unlocking everybody else. It to me is not enough if you got to pay for everybody else. That's how I look at it. If
That's
I'm
fair.
still
Now,
buying DLC, then no, it's not enough because I should have them all at the beginning. As a gamer, I want them all at the beginning. Now, if you tell me I
well,
only get like 8 or 9 and I got to unlock them and then it's kind of hard, fine. If it's in a predatory pay to win kind of thing, then no. But if it's just unlockable content, that's what makes the game fun. You work and you grind for those people. You win and challenge for those people. Wrestling games used to be fun like that back in the day too, like on the N64 and even in the PlayStation 2 era. You would unlock certain people, right? And it's like
yep.
if you're unlocking them, that's great. But if they're expecting me to pay for them, DLC and fight packs
That
and
don't
season
know yet.
pass, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. All they've said so far is that the game will launch with these 18.
Okay.
So people are speculating that the 4 that was like leaked that weren't part of the announcement, Akuma, Ed, Rashid, and somebody else, a new character, that they're going to be the first wave of DLC. But then other people are saying it may be unlockable characters, especially if you got Akuma, like an unlockable character, or boss fighters. So it's like, you beat the boss and then you get the character unlocked.
Right.
That's what we don't know yet. So they haven't confirmed whether they're boss or DLC.
Hopefully it's boss. I don't want DLC, but
I think it's going to be DLC.
yeah, based off of the fifth
cash grab.
game. Yeah, of
Yep.
course. Of course.
It depends on if they learn from the 5th game or if they think 18 is better than 6, and then we can still make them pay for the rest. Like, that's
what I think that they're gonna do. Dragon Ball Z has done it. They themselves did it one game before, and so I expect them.
Dragon Ball Fighters did launch with a good chunk of characters.
Yeah,
In the 20s. Like, at least they were in the 20s, but then they still did, like, add extra. Like, pay.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to pay. No unlocks. You pay.
Well, we'll see. We will see. But I guess the next topic, next 2 topics are your topics. Then we're almost done. We might actually do it. So, Splinter Cell remake, but with a twist, is what I'm getting.
Yeah. So I guess this one's a surprise. This could be my surprise for you one. Okay. All right, you ready?
Sure.
So Splinter Cell, right? Oh,
yes.
Good spy game. Well, they're making a Splinter Cell remake, but they decided and they announced it. They are gonna update the story for a modern day audience. So they're gonna keep the spirit and the themes of the original game. They're gonna update that story so like new people will like it.
It's a woke remake. It's woke. That's what we get. That's what we get.
That's
exactly what they do. They gotta go there for whatever reason. They go mess it up. That's what they thought.
Everybody's like, why are you updating the story? The story's fine. Hey, here's my thing. Don't call it a remake if you're going to update the story. Call it a sequel. Like, you're making a new Splinter Cell. Like, Splinter Cell tagline. Like, give it a name, Splinter Cell, blah, blah, blah. And then just release it. Instead of trying to trick people, calling it the Splinter Cell remake, and then you remake everything. People are arguing they said remake, not remaster. So they're allowed to just change stuff if they want because it's a remake. And in my head, I'm like, up until this point, remake and remaster kind of meant the same thing. But yeah, they are calling it a remake. Like Saints Row was a remake, not a remaster.
Yeah, they changed that story, didn't they? They really changed that.
Sure did. So it's not a Splinter Cell remaster. It's a Splinter Cell remake.
All right.
So,
well,
yeah.
We'll see.
You excited?
No.
Day one buy for you?
Not at all.
It's not a day one buy?
I'll be there day one to see everybody else, like, videos and see their reactions and stuff, but it'll be a Black Friday buy.
The original Splinter Cell, okay, has a score of 9.4 out of 10.
Okay.
What do you think this new one will be?
I mean, I got to see it first. I really think that it's gonna be in the sevens. I don't think
Okay.
it's gonna be low. I think it's gonna be high sevens though. But I don't
Nope.
think it'll be like a 78 out of or 7.8 out of 10 or something like that. I think it'll be something like that. But usually, when they go that far, they deviate too much from the material. We didn't seen it way too much with what was it, Resident Evil with Netflix and stuff. Like people
Yep.
just deviate. So if you're gonna deviate, then you're gonna also deviate from your 9 out of 10 score. So
Also, one more question. This is my
sure,
last one on it too.
no
So
problem.
the original Splinter Cell from 2002, of course, introduced the most like popular spy outside of James Bond, Sam Fisher, right? So we got
Hmm.
Sam Fisher, who's now like he's crossed over into other uh Tom Clancy games, like he was in Breakpoint and I think Wildlands, the Ghost Recon games. He's about to be in Rainbow Six Siege as well. If he's not already in there, but do you think the game's still going to focus on Sam Fisher, or do you think they're going to pick a new person?
I think it will still focus on Sam. I just think
Okay.
that your details are going to be cleaned up, whatever, because they're going to just basically go for lesser race stuff that was offensive. That's all they're going to
Yeah,
do,
true.
and then they'll
Probably. Yeah.
bring in somebody, change their identity, that type of thing. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I
All
don't know what
right.
else to say on it. We'll see. The next thing I have, actually, we're gonna skip that one. We're gonna come back to it after we talk about. There's one thing that you said here that how am I gonna transition this? This is funny. There's two different transitions. Okay, we'll talk about Squid Games first. Let's just go Squid Games. We're going right off of video game. We're gonna do Squid Games for a second. So talk
Oh,
to me
yeah.
about
Okay.
Squid Games for a split second.
Speaking of adding stuff to it, so Squid Games, of course, did
Yeah,
really well, and they're working on Squid Games 2, season 2,
yeah.
and Netflix gave them a bigger budget. So when they were asking the creator, one of the creators, hey, what are you thinking about like Squid Games season 3? What do you think you would want to do there if you get a season 3? And he was like, man, I was surprised about how many like celebrities just come up to me, like A-list celebrities on some like, I love Squid Games. I love Squid Games. So like for season 3, I would want to add a bunch of big Hollywood celebrities to it. Is that good or bad?
That's gonna be bad. It's going to be a distraction, basically,
Yes.
more than anything. Plus, like the actors are all, if I'm not mistaken, aren't they majority Korean?
Not
Like
in season. Won't be,
so,
but yeah, the majority are Korean.
yeah, they had the voiceover actors. Like, how are you gonna do voiceover actors, and then at the same time, you put in these like actors that are supposed to be popular that are completely American? Are they gonna go over there and just however they're gonna create work for themselves? Basically, they create work for themselves. So because
Yeah.
they're gonna do all that stuff with the audio. So no, no.
What I feel like is if you start trying to throw big name, if that's your excitement point, that you want to throw big name celebrities in there, to
In a
me
way,
that
you're
means
spoiling season two.
grab. Yep.
Yeah,
And it makes it more of a cash grab. Like it almost like saying that like you're not gonna tune in because of Squid Games. You're gonna tune in because I don't know, Chris Pratt's in it. I'm just
yeah.
picking on Chris Pratt because I'm already mad at him for Mario. So you're just tuning in because Chris Pratt is in it. And I feel like there's an excuse that if you start throwing celebrities in there, you don't have to focus on the writing as much because people are gonna tune in for the celebrity. So I feel like it's going to ruin the series. It's going to be one of those jump the shark moments where it's like, nah. And I feel like sometimes it's like when you get a really, really popular show, I do wish sometimes they would like put new actors on, like people who like have a little bit of acting under their belt but are still waiting for that breakthrough.
Yeah.
If people are tuned into Squid Games because it's Squid Games, they're not tuning in because of who's in it because they didn't need to tune in to begin with for who's in it. So it's like you can really help like some new people like grow instead of just like now season 3 in it's like let's bring in Chris Pratt and like Matt Damon and Brad Pitt and Zendaya and like it's like you don't need to do that, put some new people on. to get their moment.
Here's
Like, I
my
don't know.
thing too. By the time you get to season 3, whoever is still like the main character who's still alive and everything, isn't he already gonna be a star? Wouldn't he already
True,
be a star? Like, you wouldn't need to do any of that. He would
true.
be the star, or whoever would be the star. So
Yeah. Everybody trying to change formulas.
yeah, so I'm not okay with this, even though they always do it too much. This is not nothing new. They ruin everything, but
Yeah,
yeah,
they do.
I ain't trying to see that. But anyway, speaking of big stars, I guess this was one of the topics that you said. Basically, you put Supreme King was right about Keanu. So why don't you tell
Yeah, man.
us? Yeah.
Supreme King, you was right about Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
We talked about this before. I don't know if we ever said it on the stream, but we
Probably
talked
not.
about this before. Where after like John Wick, and he was doing another John Wick, and then just randomly doing the other Matrix movie,
Yeah.
that you were saying that he's like you feel like he's retiring soon. He's kind of running down through his greatest hits.
Yep.
Well, officially confirmed, we're getting a Constantine 2.
Yeah.
It's been officially confirmed. So it looks like he is going down his greatest hits.
I'm just mad that with the Matrix, that one just really went downhill fast because at the same time, the culture of today's world caught up to him, and I'm hoping that they don't make the same mistake with Constantine. But the thing about it too is just you got to find these actors and actresses somewhere, and they're gonna come with that culture to an extent. So hopefully it
Yeah.
doesn't. But yes, I
Now,
believe he
yeah,
is retiring. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
J.J. Abrams is one of the is he either writer or director for it, but J.J. Abrams is in it, and he's
Okay.
usually good at balancing that stuff and like caring more about the material than he is the like outlook. So that should help a little bit. I don't know. I'm not super excited for it. Other people are, but I, to be honest, I wasn't the biggest
The first one
fan
was
of
great.
the first movie. I
Um,
wasn't the biggest fan of it.
of Constantine.
Oh,
A
they have
lot
a
of people
different.
say the guy who played the devil in that movie, they said that was the best version of the devil being played period in movies, including the real biblical movies. So, yeah.
Here was my thing, and mine is a little bit like I'm not saying the movie's like bad. It's
Hmm.
just so I'm a comic book nerd,
Okay.
and out of the like Sandman universe of stuff, which that's also a Netflix series. I heard it's good, but out of that whole Sandman universe with all of that stuff, Hellblazer was the only one that kind of caught my attention, and that's where Constantine debuts. Well, there was a Constantine TV series, and Legends of Tomorrow had Constantine, and there's a few animated movies.
Yes.
And Matt Ryan is the guy who plays that, and to me, he's absolutely perfect for the role. Now, as a kid, I was a younger, relative kid. Is when I saw the first Constantine movie, and I remember going like, "Oh, that's not Constantine. Like Constantine's blonde with a brown trench coat." So, like in my head, I was like, "That's not really Constantine." But when I got older, I was like, "Oh no, they're doing their own thing. Let me go back and rewatch it." And I've watched it, and then like later, like a year or two ago, I watched it again because I couldn't remember, and I still think after being spoiled by like Matt Ryan and his performance of what I always saw Constantine as, it doesn't like translate well to me. Like Constantine's very much like this like sort of abrasive like jerk, and I feel like Keanu's a little more reserved in everything that he does. And so it's like it didn't really give me the personality that I wanted for the character personally. But I can
That's
see
cool.
people liking it.
That's cool.
I know people who they love the movie for sure.
Yeah, they all just canceled you just now, but that's cool.
That's fine. Will I check out the second one? Probably. More likely, yeah.
I
Plan to.
will. I might see it in theaters if Lord's will. If it lines up correctly, I might see it in theaters. But this is
Yeah.
probably years out. But yeah, Keanu is getting older. We're all getting older. We're sad to say. It was funny. It reminded me of Jackie Chan because Jackie Chan just kind of left and didn't say anything. He went back to his
Yeah.
country, took his millions, and he just left. But
Yep.
he does come out of hiding for a movie here and there. I think Keanu might be done, period. But he gave it a good run. He's actually a lot older than what people might think. And
Yes.
he has a few classics left, but he's doing big things with stuff. I mean, The Matrix sucked as far as Resurrections, I think is what it was called. But I don't think
Yeah.
that's going to stop the original trilogy from being as good as it was. It had like the 20-year run. Um, John Wick 4, I don't think that that's going to get messed up. It's clear as day he wanted to keep that look. So John Wick meant more to him. It meant more to Morpheus, apparently, as well. So we're going to see more Keanu in the meantime. And then he will be probably saying his final hurrah. The thing, though, a lot of other actors did just kind of just like bow out, and we just didn't hear nothing else from him and kind of just didn't know. But if you go back through a lot of your favorite classics, there's a lot of actors there that don't be acting no more.
Nope.
And then there's Will Smith. But other than that,
Well, when you're talking about release date, even though we think it's like far out, I think this is gonna drop in 2025, and that's because the
25.
original came out in 2005. So I think it's gonna be 20 years after. Maybe
All
not in
right,
the story, but like I feel like they're gonna drop it on like the 20th anniversary. Like we're releasing Constantine 2.
all
Like
right.
I feel
Well,
like that's their planned release date is 2025.
all right. Well, we'll see. I will definitely go watch it though. I will watch it. Um, but next topic I do have here. Tell me about the Undertaker and Becky Lynch from WWE being in Rainbow Six Siege. So I swung it back in the
Yeah.
game boot for a minute. But yes.
So, the Undertaker and Becky Lynch, they're gonna be skins in Rainbow Six Siege. Um, so if you ever wanted to be wrestlers in a shooter and you didn't want to play Gears of War, you got this. So the
That's
Undertaker is gonna
interesting.
be skin for the character Blackbeard, and Becky
Okay.
Lynch is gonna be a skin for the character Thorn. Um,
Okay.
like super random, but like it's crazy how WWE is like really branching out with like what John Cena in Fortnite, Xavier Woods and Undertaker and Asuka in Fall Guys, Batista was in Gears of War,
I think a
uh,
few of those guys were in
New
Brawlhalla as
Day
well. But
was
yeah.
in Gears of War. Yeah, a bunch of them was in Brawlhalla,
Yeah.
Rocket League, World of Tanks or something like that. Now they're breaking into Rainbow Six Siege. Uh, They're really just expanding into other games,
All I
which is fun
know
too. You play games, so it's interesting to see them just like actually in stuff.
all I know is I want to get them in the AEW game on the PC version. Y'all better do
Oh
y'all modders, y'all better show up. Y'all better really
yeah.
show up. I want them all on there. I want it to look just like Fire Pro Wrestling with modern day graphics. Y'all better show up and show out.
A side joke about that
Yeah.
for AEW, they've had like Action Bronson is in a major storyline, and they've had a few other rappers and a bunch of stuff. People think AEW's second video game is just going to be the return of Def Jam with a bunch of rappers. And they can put
Hey.
the acclaimed in there as well.
Hey.
Rapping on there.
Modders, do your thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're gonna go into overtime, so hit the like button. I do have some more gameplay footage that was already set for overtime. I set one of them for 5 minutes, so I'm hoping that we don't go past that. And then if we do, it's another one that's like an hour. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the skins. I'm gonna look those up. I might actually get it. If it's some co-op, man, we might actually go through it. But
Yeah, I think it's a 4 player co op, but it's a co op.
oh yeah. Now, the other thing that I wanted to say that is technically our last topic, but we might keep it brief. So you said I was right about Keanu. I'm gonna say, piggybacking off of WWE people or wrestling, I want to say you were right about CM Punk. So CM Punk, I think the one thing I just want to say, I think we saw the best of CM Punk between the years of 2011 to 2014. I don't think you're going to see it any better than that. And I think it's just him and his mental state and just, um, if he doesn't get what he wants, what you said was that he was a crybaby. I kind of can
Uh,
see that. I don't understand why in the long run and in the short run. I don't know why he went to UFC when he did, because I remember all the little stuff in the shoot interview he did where he buried Ryback. He was like, the biggest thing he kept saying was complaining about getting hurt and complaining about having like fractures and staph infections and all these things. And then you went from there to the UFC where literally you would get hurt and have all this stuff going on, you know?
uh-huh.
And then from there, it's like, then you kind of went back on a hiatus. You did some movies. I saw your movies, your two horror movies. I thought you were fine in them. The one where you were the actual lead was okay. I wasn't gonna like go in on you, CM Punk, for that, but at the same time, it's like okay, I don't know all the details, but there was a fight behind stage between the Elite and him, and I know he did go into business for himself a few times before that with his call outs, with his little pipe bomb kind of things. He's known for his pipe bombs, whatever. But it's like, whatever it was, like, y'all can't just be men about it and sit down one day and talk about whatever it was and then get back to work. Because back in the day, there's been plenty of stories of people like Shawn Michaels and Undertaker are cool right now. There's a very, very popular story about how Undertaker said at a WrestleMania he was sitting behind stage with his fist taped up in the gorilla position and told Shawn Michaels, if you did not put over Stone Cold for the business, for everything, so that they can beat WCW, you wasn't making it out that building, basically. And he sat back there behind stage because all the way up until that point, he was like somebody who they thought was not going to do business correctly. And then he finally did. And we don't know if it was because he thought he was going to get his butt kicked, but he just did. But it's like, you're not even really in that type of situation no more. But like sometimes those kind of situations probably happen, but y'all don't handle it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't just handle it like, man, what are you, scared? What's going on with this? Tell me a little bit about this. We got like 3-4 minutes. Tell me.
Woo! So CM Punk was out here. So apparently, I found out weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think what's his name? Kenny Omega. He at some point was just like 80% of you can't get in that ring with me for like no reason. Like after his return,
Yeah.
which also upset some people. But then yeah, Punk was just over here being mad, went off on the EVPs, got into a huge fight backstage. Chairs were thrown, people biting people.
And we gonna act like he didn't ever say stuff like that himself, especially in WWE when he was calling himself being like a 400-day plus champion. Like, okay. I remember it was to the point where Chris Jericho was on he was on Twitter talking somebody out of being mad. It was somebody who was like older in Hulk Hogan's era, where he was upset because of what CM Punk said, and like Chris Jericho was talking to him like it's just part of the show. He's just trying to do what he's doing. It's like he was mad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay.
And for some reason, like he randomly during his little press conference thing, he went off on the Colt Cabana stuff again.
Oh my God.
And like, because apparently somebody said something backstage, like the Young Bucks may have said something, but like, there's a lot of hearsay in there that he just like went off on that little stage thing. But it's just weird to me because it's like you just won the championship back.
Right.
These three won the trios championship, and then all of a sudden there's just a huge brawl. So yep, Tony had to suspend everybody.
Yeah.
And they put championships on new people, but then there was reports that he's not sure if he was going to bring Punk back, and now it's like official that Punk's probably not returning.
Where is he going?
So he's just gonna be gone. He's just gonna be gone. Like he done.
You can't go back to Triple H's WWE. That was the main dude. That was the main dude you was mad at.
Yeah, he ain't coming back. If he do come back, he's gonna get buried. Like that's it. Like if he comes back, like you could lose to
If you
Goldberg.
scared to get hit, you definitely not going to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Nope. So,
Impact?
and let's be honest, he keeps getting hurt. Like he won the belt,
Yeah.
got hurt, won the belt again, got hurt. So he just needs to stay home officially. He done, and it's just
Yeah.
it's just weird when I say he a crybaby. It's he always feels like he has to be the one to speak up and fight for people. But what he doesn't realize is a lot of the times it's like it's just him. It's just him that's upset. So he thinks he's speaking for everybody, and it's just like no, you're just complaining. Like that's all you're doing is complaining. Like the whole pipe bomb thing, where he like decided to speak his mind and it got all the praise. It was him speaking on some like other people, and it was what some people were feeling. But he thinks just because that one lined up with people's opinions, that everything he does lines up with people's opinions, and it's like, nah, my guy, like it doesn't.
Yeah.
So he's just always just.
I would just say at this point, just do acting. Just be an actor.
Yeah, he should.
You don't have to worry about too many stunts. You know, just be an actor. Just be an actor. Like
to me, it's like AEW doesn't need it. Like I don't know. Like I get they like doing the big pop thing, and yeah, it worked for the Chicago crowd and all that other good stuff. But it was like, now you got some strong people who can like carry this promotion. Let them do it.
It sucks too because now we're being robbed of certain dream matches that we didn't get. We got him to go through WWE, but we didn't get him. Did he go against Kenny Omega officially, 1-on-1?
Oh,
he didn't.
That ain't going.
Yeah, so we definitely not gonna get that one. You know, we might not see him go against any other veteran WWE people if they was to go over there. People from Japan that is gonna go over there. That always like goes. So
we're also now gonna miss out on like, to be honest, that moment when MJF would take the belt off of
him. Yeah.
Like we're no longer gonna get that moment now.
Here's the thing too, like in 2013, 2014, him and Daniel Bryan were really big fish in a small pond. Like they really were. But since then, NXT has caught up to them. You know, AEW has become a thing. New Japan Pro Wrestling has been introduced to the American audience on a level where you know, like storylines and you know those people. It's like an influx of wrestling in, like even Lucha Underground came and went for a second, and then they still had spawned a lot of people that people follow. You know what I'm saying? Like they had like their own Brock Lesnar and Brian Cage at one point that was in he's in he went over there too. So it's like, you know, you had things like Pentagon Jr., right? Or Pentagon, whatever he calls himself now. Like a lot of those guys. It's like it's a lot more people. It's like if you missing CM Punk, you're missing one person. Before him, to me, it was like low key. It was like, okay, low key's not really wrestling like you would want him to. It was like, okay, well, we're missing one person, but there's so many active guys here. And I have to say, unfortunately, the best years, it was 2011 to 2014 is over. We had already seen the best years. And those were really good years because his matches were really good at the time. At a time where a lot of people was not putting on like that. They were all doing super kicks. They were all doing rolling around headbutts and stuff. Their psychology was off. And he was having some of the best matches of his life. Because he has some matches with John Cena that led him to his title. And then he turned back around and he had like what I thought was one of the best matches of that one year where he went against Brock Lesnar. In between there, he went against The Rock twice and Undertaker for the streak. And people were saying like these were the best matches of those pay-per-views. You know, I thought his promo battle with The Rock was hot when he was in the ring. It's like those were his hottest moments because those were back-to-back moments. And you haven't seen back-to-back moments like that since the Attitude Era anyway. But since then, like, it hadn't been that hot. So, Yeah, but he don't need to be a crybaby about it. Just give him take a part time schedule if that's the case. But I don't really want to
Yeah,
see him leave. But at the same time, it's like that kind of mentality is holding wrestling back. Because at the same time, isn't the elite in the same amount of trouble? There's no news about them leaving though.
they were just being, they're not leaving, they're just suspended. But it seems like that means CM Punk is considered the agitator in this case.
Yeah.
Um, CM Punk and Party. But like, and I think that's the other issue with the whole like part-time schedule. The reason why I
Mm-hmm.
don't think Punk that is Punk needs to be the most important guy. That's how he feels. And I feel like it's because in that 2011 to 2014, he
Yeah.
wasn't treated as the most important guy. And he left ROH part of that too when like other people were getting a little bit of a shine, right? He wants to be the most important.
I gotta throw
Uh,
somebody else under the bus for a second because even though he's like a fan favorite because of In the Ring, Cody Rhodes had this issue too. And it was
needs to
like
be the
there was
guy.
no
Yep.
reason for him to leave AEW either. But this seems to be a wrestling thing. Like these guys don't understand. Like I don't know how to say. Like they're supposed to be a team player in a sense. It's like it's not even like they getting buried like that in AEW. It's not even
No.
like they're not even like do they even have Naomi Sasha Banks moments like that over there? They don't really
No,
have it like that. So I don't
and
understand what. Yeah, and
not until
what does a suspension matter if you are like a top guy who also can go to independent events anyway? Isn't that the
yep.
understanding for that group? It's not like like WWE was the understanding was you couldn't go, but over
Yeah.
there it was like, can't you still go to
Yeah,
these
but for my
events?
also AAA is acknowledging the suspension and Kenny Omega suspended from there too.
Okay, maybe not.
Suspension.
Maybe not.
But
Well, they
other
could go hang out on YouTube with Xavier Woods, right? Or maybe not. I don't know.
but all the other like shows like the ones that Zack Ryder does, like they can just do those.
Yeah, I don't know. But CM Punk needs to get it together. I don't want to see him to leave, but at the same time, it looks bad on his end because even before this, it was known he was. It was reports saying that he was having frustrations and stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
Oh,
like,
let's also be real too. It doesn't help that your guy in charge to me is so focused on like comparing himself to WWE,
yeah,
right? Where it's like you
they
have your
all
fan base.
do that.
You're not feeling anyone else. There's a difference between throwing subtle jabs at the other one, right?
Yeah,
Like, who cares about that? That's fun. Like, throw your subtle jab at the other one. Mock a little bit of something that they do. I get it. Like, do that. It's fun. It's for the like wrestling heads that watch and know everything. Right? It's a fun little jab. But at the same time, when you're doing a press conference and all you got to say about your show is this is the real crown jewel, not like that stupid Saudi Arabia stuff. Why'd you even need to bring it up? Like everybody knows the Saudi Arabia stuff is bad. There was no reason to bring it up, right?
yeah,
Like
it
you can
wasn't.
hype your own thing without saying this too. Like it's like a subtle jab versus a dig, and he's always digging at the other one. Where it's just like, dude, there's so much going wrong in your own right now. Focus on it, fix it. Like you don't have to do that. Like you don't like it's just weird to me sometimes where it's just like, okay, like we get it. Can you go a week without mentioning like WWE? Like it's I don't know, it's weird. Oh, I catch little things like that. And then also just so you know, Paige just debuted too.
I saw
For
that and I
AEW.
was kind of confused because wasn't she the one with the broken neck?
Yes, although I remember she was inspired like on some like if Daniel Bryan can return, maybe she can
Oh,
too.
okay.
And she's doing whatever to be able to try and return.
But what's the
Yeah,
diagnosis? Was it broke? Like what? I forgot. Like,
I don't know. Yeah, I know. I think she got kicked and then she went a little numb. So it was the same thing Daniel Bryan had. It's just Bryan
mm,
returned, and hers wasn't ready yet. Because like severities can be slightly different. Like one of those things where like Tyson Kidd can never return to like a wrestling.
here's the difference
Uh,
though. Brian, and I know this is gonna sound bad though. Brian is like a top tier wrestler, and he's gonna be the one who carries matches. You know what I'm saying? And he's gonna be
Yeah.
able to understand to hold himself and make sure he's not stiffed in certain areas and stuff.
Uh-huh.
AEW's girls are kind of known for not being as good as WWE's girls, and at the
But
same time, it's
I
like
mean, I can't too much.
yeah, but she also is not known to carry matches. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not
Uh-huh.
carrying the match, you're at the mercy of the person who's carrying for the most part. So if they're whispering to you, we're about to do this or we're about to do that, and you're not really ready for it. You know what I'm saying? If you go out there and you be day one Ronda Rousey or whatever, and I mean that as in she didn't really know what she was doing. Let's be clear.
Right.
You know, because
Well,
Daniel
you
Bryan got re-injured and was right back out. He
yep.
was right back out.
You can you can like argue, but like Paige did help really set off that whole women revolution thing. Like if we're being honest, it was her. Before the Four Horsewomen, it was her, and to be honest, I think it was Taryn from Impact and Gail
That's what I
Kim.
was gonna say. I was like, I'm gonna be extra hardcore and give it to
Okay?
Gail Kim and
Like
Taryn Terrell.
that what was the, what did they have? Wasn't it like a last man standing
It
match?
was a hardcore-ish last minute standing kind of thing.
Yeah, that to me was like that was the best
I
match.
think it was Slammiversary 2012 or 13.
Yeah, and
Slammiversary.
I consider that match of the year across all wrestling. In my opinion, that was the match, and it was just like, yo, this was really like I went out of my way to watch that one. Like I was like, this is really good. And then you got Paige, like the whole anti diva thing, and then it broke off with like the Charlotte, Sasha, Naomi, or Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, and Bailey, like really pushing it, and then you get to your women's revolution. But I really, yeah, I give it to Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell, and then I would say Paige was a follow up. But you're right, Paige didn't need to kind of be. She wasn't the person that carries matches.
If this was
Uh,
Gail Kim, I would have a whole nother tune. If it was Gail
yeah,
Kim, it would be another tune.
yeah,
Because Gail Kim created stars, you know,
yeah.
so
I'm
she
afraid she's
can
gonna get hurt.
handle herself. Yeah, her, I don't see that. I don't see, and you know what's so cringe too? I barely can recognize that girl. I'm gonna be honest. I cannot
Yeah.
recognize her no more. She don't look
Now,
the same at
I'll say,
all.
see the in like game like in the footage,
Yeah,
like when she does actually debut, she does look a little bit more like herself. It's every picture does not look like her. Like when they
I
showed
just
that whole
couldn't
picture,
recognize.
Elite, I looked at that, I was like, that's not Paige. Like I looked, I was like, that's not Paige. And when I watched the debut, like of her coming out, it was like, oh, okay, I could tell, like that's her. But yeah, no, she's gotten a lot of stuff done.
Yeah, but we'll see how she does. I think we're probably seeing the end of CM Punk. This will probably kill his respect across the board, though. If he really does
Not for
leave.
everybody. Some people are already blaming other people and like doing the whole Punk is right, and everybody's like, "How are you this blind?" Like I saw it. Somebody wrote a whole
Yeah,
long paragraph in one of them social media wrestling group talking
he,
about how pretty much CM Punk being disrespected again. Uh,
I
there's
don't
too
think he
many
should
di-
leave. He can't just leave. He could do a different type of contract. I don't think he should leave wrestling altogether. I think
Okay.
if you do, just be an actor, but don't, because I think the promotions don't need you to do that though. Like AEW was still being hot by itself a little bit for a while, even though people was calling for him, you know, for a long time and stuff. It's like, dude, bro, man up is what I gotta say. That's all I have to say about that. Like, dude, just man up a little bit, because we didn't heard like the whole idea of a shoot interview was so that people could just talk about how much they hated people back in the day. But they in the
Yeah.
middle of it, they still had their full careers. You know what I'm saying? They still went
Yeah.
through the whole thing and got the most out of it. They weren't sitting there in the middle of it complaining. They complained like 10, 15 years later, sitting down with somebody for a shoot DVD, shoot interview DVD. You know, he's like the
Yep.
person who's out here doing this in real time. It's like, dude, like complain about it 10 years later. Like, make your matches, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That's how
I
I
don't
look
get it.
at it. That's how I look at it. But other than that, I think we are at the end of the show. That was all of our topics. I don't have anything else to say about that. We did go 20 minutes over, which is funny because that means we went over more than last time, which I think was like 8 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Which leads me to my final topic, my actual surprise. I lied, I had a surprise. This is funny.
Oh,
I had a surprise, my very, very, very final topic that is actually going to be extremely brief. But there is, I said before that I always like to put Power Rangers at the end and keep it irrelevant or keep it relevant. And technically, I found a way to keep it relevant in the most hilarious way because it's not about Power Rangers, but we do have an actress from Power Rangers that's going to be in a part of this other movie, which I think is hilarious. So if you remember Elizabeth Banks, she played Rita in Power Rangers 2017's movie.
Yeah.
That movie, depending on how you liked it, it didn't do as good as we would have wanted it to do, but overall, it's fine. It's fine. But this ain't about Power Rangers. She will be a director and a producer of my most anticipated movie of 2023. And I don't know if you've heard of this, but this movie is called Cocaine Bear. And I thought this was a meme, and this is actually not a meme, from what I've heard. And so she's the biggest name that's actually associated with this. And apparently, this is the description of the movie. After a failed drug smuggling operation, a black bear ingests a large amount of cocaine and goes on a drug-fueled rampage.
Yep.
And the release date is set for February 24th, 2023, unless it gets delayed. And so, yes, was my final topic, is the Cocaine Bear. Has hardly anything, if not nothing at all, to do with gaming, unless you just make a crazy mod in GTA 5. I've seen the Lion mod. Maybe somebody can make the Cocaine Bear mod in GTA 5 to make this work. But
let me add one more thing to make it even better.
Okay.
Right? It's inspired by a true story.
Go ahead with that story. I know the story. I think we said it before. Go ahead.
Oh no, but it was just in 1985. There was a bear that found a duffel bag full of cocaine and ingested all of it. And this story is based on that.
So this is based on a true story, man? What's going on? We got cocaine bears.
Yep.
This is based on a true story. All right, man. That's the final topic. I am definitely going to enjoy watching that for the laughs. There's no way that's not a comedy. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it says it's a thriller. It actually is. It says it's a thriller. So, anyways, if anybody has made it this far, we are at the end of the show. Hit the like button if you can. If you're looking at the footage on screen, this is like the final board or second to final board of the game called Hue. I will be doing an actual review on this in probably a few weeks. I'm not going to say next week or something. The game's been done. This footage is actually now considered old. But I do have all the footage. I'm not deleting anything. I'm going to do a review on this eventually. And other than that, we are at the end of the show. Any last words from my
Yeah,
co-host.
I want to know if you're a wrestling fan who's been also playing a bunch of video games. Are there any appearances from the wrestlers that you've been most excited about since they've been branching out and everything?
In other video games, right? Like so,
Yeah, in other video games
Batista
like
and
we're
Gears of War 5, that kind
the
of thing.
war. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your favorite video game uh wrestling crossover?
I think I I don't know. Maybe I I can't really think cuz they don't do them that often. But
I liked them in Fall Guys. I thought that was a fun, nice little crossover.
yeah, I think they were in Brawlhalla. I would have probably just said Batista and Gears just because it was the most high resolution kind of
True.
thing. I don't know. I'm more excited about the AEW game and getting it on PC and having that bad boy cracked open so that everything can be in there, everybody in there, including Crybaby CM Punk,
Yeah, he's
including
on the and he gonna quit.
oh my gosh, everybody. Well, at least the community usually goes back and they just put everybody in there, and they
Yes.
do it way better than the actual people supposedly be making the game. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The biggest crossover where you put all the characters in the same game. So other than that, we're at the end of the show. I think that's all we have to say. Hit the like button. I will be trying to put out more consistent content out this week and the following week. Like I said, the videos were already made. And on top of that, I guess I could tell you, audience, and maybe this might be a surprise to my co host, but my package was actually some material for YouTube. I decided to put some real money behind something. And this is going to be a big surprise to my co host because it's actually a very expensive microphone. So
Okay.
I bought another microphone. I was like, you know what? Because this microphone has errors that I just didn't like. And I don't think it's 100% the microphone's fault. But I got the main microphone that literally everybody uses that are like million plus subscriber bases. So I want to take this serious. I want to try to grow it. I really love content creation. I put out way too many videos for a tiny channel as it is, arguably. But every so often I kept having these issues. Like even with the short that went, I can't say viral, but the one that went like better views for me, right? I had errors in that as well that I was able to correct just by cutting out the short. The short was longer, but
Uh,
it was staticky things. It was stuff I just heard even from our recording just now, but it's fine. I am still going to use this mic for the duration of this month and a little bit of the first half of next month. And then afterwards, I'll be fully committed on the new one. The new mic is called the Shure SM7B. This mic is a mic you probably see on like half of the big channels. It is $399.99. So yes, I did
okay.
spend some real money on that. That wasn't the only thing I bought, but I'll tell you more about that off air. But
All
yeah,
right.
so that's the end of the show. So if you made it this far, please hit the like button. Thank you so much. I am committed to giving you more content. I would love to grow this thing. And always remember, don't forget to wash the back of your ears. And we are out.